to find the best job opportunities, to crafting compelling cover letters. Number 5, references and recommendation letters would support your transition journey by helping you build credibility and enhance your job application and reference. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good to have you join us today. We'll be diving into the world of data analytics, where you'll be building your very first dashboard. All right. So for those of you who have never used Tableau, you would learn how to use Tableau to build a dashboard. And trust me, I'll make it as simple as possible. You'll never imagine that by the end of today's session, you'll be well on your way to building your very first dashboard. All right. We're expecting a lot more people to join us. But while we wait for them to join, let's just get to know where we are joining from. Right, so just type that into the chat and I'll start by typing mine. Okay, so just type in where you're joining in from. I'm joining from Alberta in Canada. So let's know where you're joining us from. Just type it and send it into the chat. Okay, Salam is joining us from Abuja, Nigeria. Abdul Salam from Ottawa, Nax from Abuja. Interesting. Okay, so let's keep it coming. Ella joining us from Lagos. Absolutely fantastic. Good to have you on the call. Obata from Lagos. Okichuku from the UK. Winnipeg, David, Rwanda. Absolutely amazing. Phenomenal. We're expecting more people to join us. Zaidat is joining us from Ogun State. Emmanuel from the UK. We are super excited to have you with us today. And like I said, we'll be diving into the world of data analytics, focusing on Tableau as a tool for us to build visualization. Paul is also joining us from Abuja. Fantastic. So let's dive into our session today. So today's session will be broken down across 3 key areas. The first part would be the practical, where we'll solve a problem together. Okay, and we'll be solving that problem using Tableau. Now, the second part is you understanding what you need to learn to become a data analyst, because a lot of people get it wrong. They make the mistake by learning the irrelevancies and then they get stuck and find it very difficult to transition. And number 3, that's the final phase of our session today, will be where I'll be introducing you to our upcoming program on the 6th of April, all right? And the amazing scholarship that we have running for this month of March. All right, so thank you all for being a part of our session today. We're going to have an exciting time because we will solve this problem, collaborating, having conversations, and you would also be providing solutions to how we go about solving this problem. Now, let's get started. I'm sure, let's also find out for those of you that are joining us for the very first time, if you are joining us for the first time today, just type in a 1 into the chat. So I know that we have some newbies in the house. If you are joining a Analytics Masterclass for the very first time, type in a 1 into the chat. Abdul Hafiz, absolutely fantastic. Ella, Emmanuel, Princess, beautiful, amazing. You're all welcome to our session today. Like I said, we'll be having an amazing, fantastic time together on the call. So let's get started and get right into it. Okay, now the very first thing we want to do, like I mentioned earlier, would be for us to dive into the world of Tableau, understanding how to use Tableau as a tool to solve problems. Okay, so we have quite a number of newbies: Oluwafumi Lola, Chike, Catherine, Nax, Mayowa, Obata, Zaidat, Christopher, Ella, Paul. Fantastic. Good to have you all join us today. Right? We'll start with a little bit of introduction for those of you joining us for the first time. So who are we at Analytics? Analytics is an educational technology company, and the focus for us is on helping Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to transition into the tech ecosystem. And one of the ways we have been doing this for the last 4 years is by equipping you with premium tech skills to help lower the entry barrier into the tech ecosystem. Over the last 4 years, we've also helped over 2,000 people across different areas to break into tech, moving from the classroom to getting their very first jobs in tech, in data analytics, data science, business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, and so on and so forth. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is on the quality of the facilitators and the trainers that we bring to bear. All right. And that's who we are as an organization. And the focus every single time for us is on helping people to transition. And I'll do a little bit about an introduction about myself. I'm the founder of Analytics. I'm a data analytics expert with close to a decade years of experience across different sectors. I've worked in the energy sector. I've worked in financial services. I've worked in educational technology. I also worked in automobile and in the sports sector. All right. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK and in the US, where I focused on helping organizations on a contract basis develop their data team and to also help them drive the implementation and adoption of data-driven decision-making. I've worked as a data analytics consultant for one of the players within the financial services sector with that's FITC. And FITC is a professional services firm owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria and also the NDIC and all commercial banks. I currently live in Alberta, Canada. I recently moved to Canada. So for those of you in Canada, I hope one of these days we'll get to hang out together. And personally, I've trained well over 8,500 people across multiple cadres, from bank CEOs to chairmen to entry-level, mid-level managers across the entire cadre of any organization you can think of. Over the last 4 years, the focus for me has been to help more people like myself, more people that look like me, to also transition and get into the tech ecosystem. And that's what we've been doing using the platform of Analytics. And we've helped over 2,000 people achieve their dreams and their goals of getting into the tech ecosystem, right? Now, like I mentioned earlier, our focus would be on 3 key aspects. The first one would be a practical case study where we'd look at an organization providing a solution for a travel company. We will do this for the company, okay? Sorry, I'm just going to correct this. We will be building this for the company together. It's a travel company. They currently have a challenge, and we will solve that challenge for them using Tableau as a tool to drive that solution. And then would move into what you must do to become a data analyst. Like I said, a lot of people make mistakes here, and they start by learning the very last thing they should start with. And you can imagine, I like to use the analogy of building a house, but then you start by building the roof rather than starting from the foundation. Okay, so I'll show you what you need to learn starting from the foundation, and then you build your way up from there. And finally, I'll introduce you to our upcoming cohort starting on the 6th of April, and also the IWD scholarship, which is a scholarship, the International Women's Day Scholarship. The month of March is also the Women History Month. And we came up with an initiative since 2023 to help get more women into the tech ecosystem. And this year, we are also trying to bring in 300 women and 50 men into the tech ecosystem, taking advantage of the IWD scholarship. All right. Now, we're going to move into the very first aspect of our session today, which is our case scenario using Tableau. If you have used Tableau before, let's put it this way. If you haven't used Tableau before, type in a 1 into the chat. Inaudible. Can you confirm that you can hear me, please? Khadija, confirm. Priscilla, confirm you can hear me. I want to believe my audio is good. Okay, so I'm seeing people that haven't used Tableau. Brilliant. I love having you here on the call. And by the end of today's session, you will be able to build a dashboard using Tableau. All right. Khadija, Priscilla, please confirm that you can hear me and I'm loud and clear. And for the others on the call, if you can hear me, please just type I can hear you, and then I move on. Okay, brilliant. So for those that can't hear me, perhaps that would be their network issues. Okay, so now let's move into our case study. Remember, we are data analysts today, and the focus for us is to help this organization solve the problem they have with regards to maximizing revenue. So they've been making losses over the last few years. And the company is Cresty Travel Company, and Cresty was established in 2001, and they have been a leading player in the travel industry. However, since 2021, the company has had major financial challenges. And of course, this has also made them lose money, and they really are not profitable anymore. And this is the reason why they need somebody like you, a data analyst, to help them find answers. So what's the business of a data analyst with company's revenue and the company's profitability? Now, customers drive revenue and also drive profitability. Understanding your customers would give you clear insights into what to do in order to serve those customers the way they should based on their points of need. So what we want to do today as data analysts is to find answers. And that's the objective of the data analyst. Your role is to find answers to problems. Your role is to solve problems. All right. That's your fundamental objective as a data analyst, right? Problem solver, and you are also there to answer questions. So we want to understand our customers' preferences. In the past few years, what this company has always done is to decide on where so the management will sit together, they have a retreat and decide on the different travel locations that they will offer to their customers. But this time around, they want to go the data-driven routes of understanding where their customers want to go to so that they can create the packages that would fit into the customer's preference. And once you do this, you get more customers coming to you, you get more revenue, and you can start becoming profitable. So that's what we are trying to answer today. Okay, so we'll try to understand, gather data from the previous and current customers. Okay, and we also want to find out what the customers want so we can tailor our services to meet the needs of the customer. So I'll show you what the data looks like and what we are going to be doing, what the data would look like, and how we can start answering the questions from that particular data set. But before we look at the data, there are a couple of things we want to see. And these are the key considerations. Okay, in a typical real life scenario, what would happen is, as the data analyst, you would sit down with the stakeholders. You would sit down with the people you are doing the analysis for, and you try to find out what they want. What questions do they want answered? So let's take, for example, if this particular, the profitability or the revenue, tracking revenues within the commercial department, you want to sit down with the chief commercial officer, have a session with the chief commercial officer to find out, what do you want to see from the data? What questions would you like me to answer for you? Okay, so that's one way of going about it. The second way is, as a data analyst, with your problem-solving skills, you would know how to come up with what? Questions based on the data that you have by exploring the data and looking for key insights that you can derive from the data set. So we came up with 5 key considerations. And the first one is to find out how many people responded to the survey, because the company designed a survey, they sent the survey out to their customers to give them answers. So the customers filled the survey, we collected the data, and now we have the data with us. So we want to know how many people filled the survey, how many people responded. That's number one. And also the gender distribution. So how many male, how many female, we also want to know this. We also want to know when the customers would like to travel, so that when we organize our travel packages for the coming year, we know when, if it is in the month of March or the month of April or during summer, when will customers prefer to travel? Okay, this is one other question we would like to answer. And we got these questions by sitting down with the Chief Commercial Officer. We also want to know where the customers would like to travel to. Okay, so if they want to travel during a specific period, where would they like to travel to? Would also like to find out, will the customers prefer to travel alone or travel with their family members? It's also very key, because if we know this, we can plan packages for family, packages for, single, for individuals, and we're able to give our customers value. And finally, we also want to know the preferred mode of transportation for our customers. So when they travel, how would they like to move around? This is something we'd also like to do. And we're going to build a very simple dashboard. All right, like I said, this is you building your very first dashboard in Tableau. No calculations, nothing complex, nothing out of the ordinary. And everybody here, irrespective of your current profession, your background, your degree, you will be able to do this at the end of today's session. Okay, and this is what our dashboard is going to look like. All right, simple, straight to the point, and straightforward. And we will go to the data and start to see how we can explore the data to answer all those 5 questions in the next 45 minutes. All right. I have a link for you, for those of you who have never used Tableau. So my advice would be for you to follow the session, watch what I'm doing, let's collaborate, ask questions, and let's keep the session engaging. All right. At the end of today's session, you'll receive my slides, all the materials, and then at your own convenience, you can then start to build your own dashboard. Okay. So I've kept a link for you to watch on how to download and install Tableau. It's a very short video on how you do that. And also the data set is here. Okay, so if you click on the link, it takes you to one of our videos on YouTube. You watch that, you learn how to download and install Tableau. The process is very simple and very seamless. I'll give you a very quick overview before I dive into my own session today, the practical part. And then you also have access to the data set. I'll send the data to the chat for the benefit of people who would like to maybe walk along as I solve this problem. Okay, so I'm going to copy the link to the data set. And if you want to follow what I'm doing, please feel free. However, the best way you get value is for you to watch what I'm doing, engage, ask questions, and then at the end, when you receive the recording, you receive the slides, you can go back and build the exact same thing I'll be building today in class. Now, all you need to do is, if you click on the link to the data set, it takes you to where the data is, and I'll just show you how to do that very quickly. All right. So all I need to do is I'll click on this link and it takes me to the data. All right. So let's see what the data looks like. And I'll show you how to download the data set. So it takes you to an Excel online. Let me refresh. Okay, so it takes you here. And what do you see? What do you notice? You notice that you have the timestamp, which shows when each customer filled this survey. All right, you have the gender, male and female, based on the customers that filled. And this is also them indicating their gender. All right. you click, you see the destination and you see the different locations the customers have indicated that they would like to travel to: the Maldives, Paris, Monaco, Berlin, Seychelles, and so on and so forth. When will they like to travel? The time of travel. So they have indicated this using numbers, 1 for January and 12 for December. Type of activities. What type of activities would they like to be engaged in? Group activities, individual activities. And this is based on the question that you designed on your survey, and you deploy that survey to your customers. Okay. Holiday with who? Will they like to travel with family, or will they like to travel alone? All right, because you also ask them this question. And then you have transportation. How would they like to move around? Would they like to hire a car? Will they like to get the train or public transport, or would they like to use the bus, and so on and so forth? Okay, so this is what we have, and we'll be working with this data set. But how do you download the data? All you have to do is go to File at the top left corner. Okay, once you click on File, you click on Save As. Save As. And once you click on Save As, you'd see the option that says Download a Copy. Download a copy. And once I click on Download a Copy, it downloads the file into my Downloads folder. Okay, and then I have the file in my Downloads folder. All right, Ifeo Luashu is saying that he can't hear anything. I believe I am still very much audible. Okay, so Aimwa or Priscilla, maybe you want to help Ifeo Luashu to address the audio issues. Okay, so once you have your data downloaded, it means you have it in your download somewhere. So I'm just going to go to my downloads. All right, and I'll show you where the data is. So let me bring this to the screen so you see what I have. So you see the data set I just downloaded. Okay, Analytics, travel survey, responses, and so on. So that's what I have. So if I double click on this, it opens up in Excel. But we're not working with Excel today. We want to work with Tableau. Okay, so once you double click on this, it opens up in Excel. And if you want to use Excel to do analysis, you can do that, and so on and so forth. We're going to connect our Tableau to this Excel file and do our analysis. And like I said earlier, I'm going to make it as simple as possible so everybody on the call can follow along, and you can also get to see and do the same thing at the end of today's session. Now, it's time to launch Tableau. But if you've never used Tableau before, all you need to do is just go online, go to Google, and just type in Tableau. That's all. Just type in Tableau, and then you'd see the Tableau official site, the website. You can open up the site, go to tableau.com. Okay, and you'd see, if you go to the very top, you can try Tableau for free. Okay, you click on Try Tableau for free. And once you click on this, it would ask you for your job title and a couple of other questions. If you enter your job title, click on Get Started. It would ask you for other details on your name, your first name, your last name, your work email. You can use your Gmail. That works fine for you. Okay, and once you fill all those details, you get a link into your email, confirm your email, and then you are good to go. But then again, like I mentioned earlier, you have a link for you to watch how to install, how to download, and how to install Tableau. So you don't need to worry yourself too much about that. Now let's get started. We've downloaded our data set, and it's time for us to open up Tableau. So if you've downloaded, you've installed, like all of you would at the end of today's session, just go to your search, okay, and search for Tableau. Okay, and the moment you search for Tableau, you'd see the Tableau app installed on your computer. Okay, most of the time at the end of your installation, you can put it on your desktop so it's easy for you to navigate. Or you can simply just go to your search for Tableau, and you click on Tableau. So this launches Tableau for us. So let's wait for a while, and then Tableau would come up and we can all get going. Okay, the link again. I'll share the link, Emmanuel. I'll share the link again, the link to the data set. Okay. Now Tableau is up. Just give me 1 second. So I'm just going to drag this so everybody can see what I'm doing. All right. So this is what you would likely see when you launch Tableau for the very first time. Okay, very fantastic platform, very unassuming. One of the first things you need to do is to connect to your data set. And you can connect to multiple data sources. Excel, a text file, a JSON file, Microsoft Access, PDF. You can click on more and you'd see more data sources you can connect to, or you can connect to a database, which even makes it fantastic because you can work with live data that you have in databases. And when you click on more, you see so many other different data sources: Google BigQuery, Hadoop, Splunk, Splunk SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL. So you can connect to databases and different other sources, Microsoft SQL Server. But our data for today is an Excel file. All right. So we go to Microsoft Excel at the top over here, and then we click on Excel. Okay. Once you click on Excel, you go to where you have your data downloaded. My data is in my downloads folder. So I go to downloads, and then I click on the data I just downloaded, which is what? Analytics travel survey, responses, and then I click on open. Straightforward. Let me take it one more time. Okay. So when you open up Tableau, it comes up like this. All you need to do, where you have connect, you go to Microsoft Excel because our data is in an Excel file. I click on Microsoft Excel. Okay, and then I click on downloads and I'll see the data I just downloaded. I click on that and I click on open. And that's it. Now, for those asking for the data set, I'll send it again. Just give me 1 second. And I'll send that to the chat. All right, so I'm dropping it again in the chat for those who requested for the data sets. So you see that in the chart, you can pick the data from there, run with it. All right. Is Elijah on the call? Adija, please confirm if Elijah is on the call. So Elijah, is it possible for us to use the other accounts? Please just confirm if we can use the other Zoom accounts, because I can see some people are trying to join, but we had a challenge with this particular account and we can't take in more than 100 people. So we might likely have to switch, but I need to confirm very quickly from Elijah. So Elijah, please confirm with me if we can. If we can't, we just continue.
We can actually use it. We can actually use it. So I'll just share it to everybody on the platform. And everyone will have to just keep an eye on it.
Let me know when you're ready, so I'll make the announcement, okay?
Okay.
All right. As soon as you send it, just notify me so that I make the announcement. So we have quite a number of people trying to join, but you see it's getting stuck at 100. And that's just simply due to an issue that occurred just before we started the session today. All right. So now that we have connected to our data sets, you would see what the data looks like, just like when we opened it up on Excel. Okay. You'd see the timestamp, the gender, the destination, the time of travel. Did they travel in January or February? The type of activity, holiday with who? And finally, you have transportation. All right. Now, if for any reason, of course, whenever you're working with data, you have to be sure that the data is clean before you start doing your analysis. And one of the first things you want to do is to check the data type, that the data type is the correct data type. And what do I mean? If you look at the timestamp column, you have date and time. You have what? Dates and time. And that's why you see the timestamp here that says what? Date and time. Very important. So when you click on this icon, this very little icon over here, you click on it, you'd see the data type. Now, if Tableau had not assigned the correct data type, I can change the data type from here to the correct one. All right, you'd see the gender. Gender is text or string, ABC, and so on. Okay, so, and that's why you'd see ABC for what? String. A string is a text. Okay, you'd see destination is also text, and you'd see time of travel is what? Numbers. And that's why you'd see you have what? Whole numbers selected for time of travel. So if for any reason the data type you have is not the correct data type, perhaps you want to change your whole numbers to a decimal number, you can do that by just clicking on this icon and then clicking on decimal. Okay. However, our data is clean enough and we are good to go. So what I'll do next is I'll go to the down left corner and you'd see where you have sheet 1. Sheet 1. I'll just simply click on sheet 1. Now, what we are going to do in all the different sheets we will be creating is to use those sheets to answer each questions. So sheet 1 would answer question 1, would create sheet 2 to answer question 2, and so on and so forth. But let's not take our eyes off the questions and the reason why we are doing all the things we are doing. A company has a problem. They want to understand their customers and use that insight to drive the services they offer to their customers going forward. All right. And the very first question we want to answer today is to find out how many people responded and what is the gender distribution. Now, we've seen that after deploying the survey, people responded to the survey. How many of them? And how many of them were male? How many were female? That's question number 1. Okay, so let's answer question number 1 using sheet 1. So I'm going to type in sheet 1 here by double clicking on it. You can rename your sheet so that it properly communicates what you have in that sheet. You can either double click on the sheet or you can simply right click and then you click on rename. You can right click on the sheet, click on rename, or you double click on the sheet and you rename the sheet. So I'll just simply call this total respondents. Okay, so this is where I would solve or answer the question of the total number of people that responded. So how do I do this without even writing a calculation? What do I do? How do we count the number of people? Let me ask you that question. So this is the data set. Let's go back there. This is what the data looks like. Okay. Or we can simply, let's just answer the question. How do we count the number of people that filled this form? I want somebody to tell me, not using Tableau, just tell me if you were to count, what would you count in this data set to give you the total number of people? All right, let me see your answers in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, please feel free. I would allow you to unmute yourself. Okay, so let's go to Cherish. Cherish wants to say something. So Cherish, go ahead. How do you count the number of people? Okay, count function is using something related to Tableau. I'm just saying, if you've never seen this before, you want to explain this to a primary school student, how do you do it? How do you explain? What do you count? Okay, what do you count? Count the timestamp data. Thank you very much, Joel. Count the timestamp data. Gender colon. Thank you very much, Jumai. Count the gender colon. Okay, so between what Joel has said, because most of the time you need to know what you are doing in a very simple form before you even start writing any calculations in any tool you would ever get to use. What's the simplest way I can answer this question? All right. So if we simply take this gender colon and we count one by one female, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time I'm done counting, I'll know the total number of people that fill the form. Okay. And that's exactly what we are going to do. The only difference is we won't have to manually count. Now, if you look at the left-hand side, you have your table that we connected to. You have your destination, the gender, holiday with who, timestamp, transportation, type of activity. And these are the different columns that you have in your data set, the time of travel. And you'd see this part that has something like the hash. And this is simply your measures. These are usually numerical values. Your numerical values would form measures, while your text values would be what? Dimensions. Okay, so text would be at the top called dimensions, and your numerical values would be at the bottom called measures, right? So we'll simply take the gender. We want to count gender. So what I'll do is I would right click and drag. I'm going to drag my gender, but I'm not going to drag it by left clicking. I'll drag it by right clicking, right? So I'll right click my gender, drag it, and drop it on top of text. Okay, let me do that one more time. I'm going to drag my gender by right clicking. So on my mouse, I right click on gender, drag it, and I'll drop it on top of text. I have color, I have size, I have text. I'm going to drop it on top of text. And the moment I do that, it would ask me, what do you want to do? Do you want to find the minimum, the maximum, the count distinct? Okay, what do you want? I want the count. So I'm going to click on count, give me the count, and then I click on OK. And the moment I do that, it's going to give me a number, and that number says 373. Now, most of you would not see this number, but I'm going to make it a little bit bolder so that we can all see what we have. Okay, so what did I do? I simply right-clicked on my gender, dropped it on top of text. It asked me what exactly I want to do, and I clicked on count and clicked on OK. That was all I needed to do, and it gave me the count of the gender. Okay, it gave me the count of the gender. All right, so Elijah is telling me that we can move into the other Zoom session. Okay, Elijah is telling me that we are ready to move into the other Zoom session. So what we are going to do, it's a bit tricky now because, do you know what, Elijah? Let's continue for now. Okay, so we don't have any disruptions. And once we see the numbers go up again, we will eventually get to switch. All right, just let me know in the chat whatever is going on. All right, so I have my number 373. And what I'm simply going to do, I want to increase the size of this number. Okay, so I'll come to text where I have text. I'll click on text. Click on text. Where you have your text, click on the 3 dots that you have. Okay, click on the 3 dots that you have. Yeah, this is going somewhere else. You click on the 3 dots, and once you click on the 3 dots, you have your edit label. Okay, I'm going to select what I have in my edit label. I want to change the font type. I'm going to click on this drop down to change my font type to Tableau bold. And then I'm also going to increase the font size to size 48 so that it is very bold. And then I'll change the color as well. So this is all formatting, and I'll change my color to green. Let's use this green. Okay, and then I'll click on apply and click on OK. So now I'm asking you guys, how many people filled this form? Type it into the chat. How many people filled our survey and submitted the survey to us? type it into the chart. If you can see what I've done, type it into the chart. How many people? 373. Fantastic. 373 people. Brilliant. You are all amazing. Okay? Absolutely fantastic. Now, slowly, we are answering the question. So we answered question 1, and we can see total respondents, 373. My title at the top is a little bit too bold, so I'm going to reduce it. And all I need to do is to right-click on the title, click on Edit Title, okay? And once I click on Edit Title, it pops up the Edit Title box. I select what I have. I change the font type. I'll use Tableau Bold. Just to keep it consistent, I'll use the same font across Tableau Bold, and I'll change my title to 10, the font size to 10. All right. And I also want to change the color to the same green color. So I'll click on this, and then I'll click on the green and click on Apply and click on OK. So this is what I have. Total respondents, 373. Fantastic. Question 1 answered. Now let's go to question 2. To answer question 2, I would open up another sheet. So I come to the down left corner, I click on new worksheet, and it opens up a new worksheet for me. Okay, opens up a new worksheet for me. Now, what's question number 2? Always remember, we are keeping our eyes on the ball, and we don't want to lose track of the reason of why we are here, which is to answer these questions. Question number 2 is the gender distribution. So question 1 has 2 parts. We know how many people. We've answered the first part. The second part is the gender distribution. How many male, how many female? That's the second part. And that's what we want to answer now. All right. So I go back to my sheet 2 and I rename it. So I'll right click on it. Okay. And I'll click on rename, and I'll rename it to what? Gender distribution. Once I type in the name, I'll hit enter, gender distribution. Okay. Now, all I need to do is take my gender. All right. I want to find the gender distribution, correct? And in doing this, I want Tableau to also create a visual for me. Visualize it using a chart, because we are building it. We want to build a dashboard. So visualize it building a chart, and Tableau does that very, very well. And you'd see what I mean. The moment you take attributes from your table and you move it into your work area, what happens? Tableau starts to look for the best possible chart that would represent that particular analysis, okay? So I'll simply take my gender, drag it, this time around, left click and drag, and I'll drop it in my columns. Okay, and of course you'd see gender, female, male, ABC, ABC, because I haven't put anything yet. But what do I want to see under my female and under my male? I want to know the count, how many male and how many female. So I'm also going to do what? Count gender again. I want to count the gender so that under female, I know how many female, and under male, I know how many male. In order for me to count, I need to drag my gender and put it under the rows, but I'm not going to drag with my left. So if you want Tableau to do it for you automatically, you use the right click of your mouse to drag. So I go to my gender and I right click and I drag it and drop it under rows. And the moment I do that, it would ask me what exactly I want to calculate. Again, I want to calculate the count. So I select the count of the gender and then I click on OK. At the moment I do that, you would see I have the female. Let me just expand this a little. Okay, I have the female, I have the male, and then you can see your bars, the column chart. It created a column chart for you automatically. Created a column chart for you automatically. And that's what Tableau does. It does it very, very well. Now, if you want to change this chart to something else, Maybe you want, now you can see that the gender are colons. One colon, the second colon. If you want it to be horizontal instead of vertical, all you need to do is take your gender, drop it in the rows, and take your count of gender and drop it in the columns, and you'd see it would appear horizontal. So it all depends on you, what exactly you want to see. You can make these changes, make these tweaks, and you'd still get exactly what you want, all right? So I want my gender to be in the column. So one column should be for male, the other column should be for the female. So I'm going to drag my gender, drop it up, count of gender, drop it down, and you'd have it that way. So you literally have your destiny in hands, controlling what should be what and where it should be. Now, let's do a little bit of formatting to this chart. I want to add labels. So I know the number, the exact number of the female. It should appear at the top. And the exact number of the male should also appear at the top. All right. And all I need to do is, you see this count gender, which is the calculation that counts the gender for me. I only need to duplicate. Okay, I need to duplicate this by holding the control key on my keyboard. Hold the control key on my keyboard, click on this count and drag it to the right. Okay, so you have 2 count of gender. All right, that's how you duplicate. Let me do it one more time. Okay, you hold down the control key on your keyboard, you click on this count and drag it to the right and release the mouse. So it creates a duplicate for you. And once you have that duplicate, take the duplicate and drop it on top of the label. Drop it on top of where? Label. And once you do that, you'd see the labels appear on the top of your chart. Now, once I have this, it means that I no longer need this axis at the left-hand side that has 0 to 200, because I now have my labels at the top of each column. Okay, so I'm going to right-click on this axis, and I'm going to select. Show header is selected. I'm going to click on it to deselect it. And once I deselect, it is gone and gone completely. Okay. I also don't want this gender at the top. I have my title that says gender distribution. I don't want the second one that says gender. So I'm also going to right-click on gender, and I would click on hide field labels for colons. Okay. And then that takes it out. Elijah, you have something for me? So Elijah, do you have other people in the second account? Please let me know if you have other people in the second account, and that is what will decide if we should move in there. I've asked you to unmute yourself, Elijah. Do we have other people, some other people in the other accounts? Confirm.
Not yet. So I wanted to know if you just announce here, then we all move, or should I post it first?
No, just hold on. Let's move with what we have for now. Once the number starts increasing again, then we'll decide if we need to move or not. Okay?
All right.
We'll just hold on for now. All right. Thanks for that, Elijah. So now I have my title. I want my title to be consistent with the very first one I created, total respondents. We can see the green color, green color. So if I go to my gender distribution, I want to maintain the same type of color. Okay, so I'm going to right-click on gender distribution. Okay, and I'll click on edit title. Edit title, select what I have, change the font type to Tableau bold, change the font size to 10, and change the color to light green. Click on apply and click on OK. That's all you need to do. Now, I also want to change the color of my columns. I don't want blue because I'm maintaining a color of green. All right. So all I need to do is come here, click on color, and select what? Light green. And this changes my color for me. Straightforward. Now, if I also want to change the colors of my labels, I can do that as well. All I need to do is click on label. Okay. Go to where you have your font. Click on label. go to where you have your font, click on the drop down, change the color to the light green, and that's all you have to do. You can also change the font type to Tableau bold, and this is all formatting at the end of the day. So now you have your gender distribution, you have your female, you have your male, and it's starting to look good. Starting to look good. Slowly, we are getting to answering all the questions. Now, remember, we haven't written a single calculation so far, and Tableau is doing all the job for us. And this is what you must know how to do as an analyst. You must know how to be very efficient. We can make this very complex, but again, this is a class for a beginner that has never used Tableau before. Now, one last thing I'm going to do is to remove the grid lines. You might not see it clearly, but you can see that there are some lines, some horizontal and vertical lines. So I want to remove those lines. So all I need to do is right-click anywhere close to my visual and then click on Format. Okay, so I right-click on my visual and click on what? Format. And once I click on Format on the space where I have my lines, I'll go to Grid Lines. You'd see the Format pane come up at the left-hand side. All right, you'd see you can format the font, you can align the fill color, the borders, and you'd see the line. So I'll click on Line, okay, and I'll take out the grid lines. Click on the drop down and click on None. All right, I would also click on the 0 lines and click on None because I want my chart to be as clean as possible. I'd also go to my axis, the axis rulers, and I'll take out the line and click on None as well. Okay, so once you do this, you have a very neat looking visual, because remember, as an analyst, remember this, a data visualization principle. You never build these visuals for yourself. You build them for your audience. So you want to make your visuals compelling enough, visually appealing, and you want your audience to understand exactly what you are doing. So every distraction possible on your visual, you take them out. Anything that is not adding value or adding any extra information to your visual, you take it out. Okay, so this is gender distribution, and I want you guys to tell me in the chat. All right, tell me in the chat. How many male, how many female responded? And I'll answer your question, Princess. How many male and how many female responded? Just type it in the chat. How many male and how many female responded? Out of the 373 respondents that we got, how many were male and how many were female? Just type it, male equals, female equals, so I know that we are all on the same page. Thank you, Confidence. 196 male, 177 female. Okay, 196, 177. Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you, Jumai, Kudirat, Christopher, Palmer. Absolutely amazing. Olaolu. Fantastic. Okay, so somebody said I didn't change the colors. Now, another visualization principle you should take note of is comparing, the principle of comparison. We are comparing exactly the same thing, which is gender. That's the only category we have on this visual, male and female. So if we use different colors, it would add nothing to our visual. Nothing, it would not add any single thing, because once a bar is taller than the other one, you can clearly tell which is more. I don't need the colors to tell me that one is more or less. I'm simply comparing two categories of the same gender. One is male, one is female. So what I want to see is which is higher and which is lower. And that's what I want to see. So the same colors of the columns or the bars will do the job for me. So when I have, if I want to see something like the location by gender, so I have different locations and I want to see further how many male and female visits a specific location. So now I have location as one category. I have male and female as another category. So I can start to think about colors when it comes to that. But right here, what I want to see is male, female, which is higher and which is lower. And that's all. So using the same colors will do the job for you. All right. Now let's move on. We've answered the second question. We move on to question number 3. Very interesting question, which says, where will the customers like to travel to? Where would they like to travel to? All right. Where will they like to travel to? So when we organize our travel packages, we know exactly what to do. We are not organizing this based on what we think. We will organize it based on what the customers want. So let's go answer question number 3. All right. So I'll open up a new sheet, come to the down left corner, click on new worksheet, open up sheet 3, and I'll name sheet 3 travel by location. Oh, sorry, we missed out a question, which is when the customers would like to travel. Yes, I've not answered question 2. Thank you very much for that, Chike. I saw that as well. When will they like to travel? And then we answer where they would like to travel to. Okay, so let's answer the question when. And let me just type that here. So that'll be travel by month. Okay, travel by month. So when during the year will they like to travel? Okay, remember, we have our time of travel. January is 1, December is 12. We have that. And because we have them as numbers, we have it under here as a measure. So you see the asterisk in front of it, meaning that it has been recognized as a numerical value. So all I need to do is I'm going to drag this, drop it on colons, and it will sum it up for you because it is a number, or that colon contains numerical values. It is a number field, okay? So you have numbers in your time of travel, and that's why you have the sum, but we don't want to sum, okay? So we're simply just going to change it from a measure into a dimension. So just give me the numbers from 1 to 12. Don't sum anything for me. So I'll click on this drop down here, and I'll simply click on what? Dimension. So don't give me a measure, give it to me as a dimension. So I'll click on dimension, and then it gives me the month in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so let me do that one more time. I took my time of travel, I clicked on it, dragged it, and dropped it in colons. And it automatically gave me the sum, but I don't want the sum. Why? Because I want to see January as 1 and December as 12. So I'm going to click on the drop down here, and I'll simply select what? Dimension. So don't give me as a measure, which would sum or average or give me an aggregate. Give me as a dimension, okay? And this gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth, okay? Now, what do I want to see by month? I want to see the number of customers and how they travel by the month. The number of customers and how they travel by month. The same way we did the first one, where we what? We counted the gender. The same way we did the gender distribution, where we did what? The rows, we counted the gender. We are also going to do the same here. We are going to count the gender. So we know in the month of January, how many male and female will be traveling. In the month of February, how many male and female. So I go to my gender again, I right click and drag, drop it under rows, and select count. So whenever you want this to come up, you have to right click and drag. If you left click, let me left click and drag. So you'd see if I left click and drag, it's not going to come up. All right. So for me to have the calculation come up, I right click and drag and drop it under rows. And the calculation comes up, and I select what? Count. And the moment I select count and click on OK, it creates the count of gender. Now, before I do any other thing here, I want you guys to tell me, look at this and tell me the month people would love to travel. When will they love to travel? Will they love to travel in January or in February? Type it into the chat based on what you can see. When will people like to travel? Just type that into the chat. July, somebody said July. Yes, people would like to travel in July. Okay, but let's also see when else would they like to travel. Chike says 12, which is December. OO says December. Palmer says December. Absolutely. Timothy says December. Kudirat says December. Zaidat says December. And I totally agree with all of you. So if you look at the month of December, you'd see the line right at the top representing the highest point. Okay. And for those that also said July, you're correct. So after December, the next time people would like to travel is in July during summer. And also in December, probably during the Christmas and the New Year celebrations, for the New Year celebration. So you have this here, right? But we're going to make it a little bit more exciting. We don't just want to leave it as a line like this. Let's add some spices and add some flavor to this particular visual. All right, and I'm going to do this very quick. I want to add circles on all these points. So where you see one, you have January, I want to add a circle. February, I want to add a circle. So inside that circle, I want to show the number of people that will be traveling in that particular month. Okay, so for me to do this, I'm going to duplicate my count of gender. All right, I'll duplicate my count of gender. And to duplicate, all I need to do is hold down the control key on my keyboard. Hold down the control key on my keyboard, click on count of gender and drag it to the right-hand side. Okay, and once you duplicate, you'd see two different lines because now you have created two different counts of gender. I had one and I duplicated. Okay, I had one and I duplicated. So now you have two, count of gender, count of gender. And you can see the two lines. This is the first one at the top and this is the second one at the bottom. Okay, if you also look at the left-hand side, you'd see the count of gender, the first one here, and you'd see the count of gender 2. You see the first one and you see the second one, count of gender and count of gender 2. Okay, so what I want to do is I'll go to the first count of gender. Where you have automatic, I'm going to change it to line. So give me a line every day, every time for the first count of gender. So I'll go to here, click on automatic, and I'll select what? Line. All right. For the second one, I'll click on it, go to automatic, and I want to change this to what? Circle. Click on circle, and it gives you dots on your chart. Okay, I want the dots to be a little bit bigger, so I'll click on size, and I would increase the size a little bit. All right, something like this looks fine. Let's increase a bit. Looks fine. Okay, now that I've increased the size, I'm going to move it to the top. First of all, change the color to green. We are working with the color green today across. Okay, so let's not change the color yet. Okay, I'm going to come back to change the colors from blue to green. So I do it once, right? Now I want to merge the chart at the bottom to the chart at the top. So they are one and together because they are separate at the moment. I have one at the top, I have one at the bottom, but I want to bring them together. So I go to where I have my duplicate count of gender at the top. I right click on it. Okay, and then I select what? Dual axis. Dual axis. And the moment I select dual axis, it merges my two visuals together. Okay. Now, if for any reason, one of the visual changes, because remember what we have now are two different charts combined into one when I selected dual axis. So if one changes, it could affect the other one and they don't change in line with one another. So I want to put something in place in a way that if one increases, the other one increases in the same proportion. All right. So I go to my axis at the left-hand side, right click on it, and I'll click on synchronize axis so that whenever the first line, maybe it increases a little bit with more data, the second would also increase in the same proportion so that I won't have a situation where my lines are separated from the circles because one has increased and one has decreased. So I want to synchronize so they are always moving in line with each other. So I right click on this and I click on synchronize axis. Okay, and that's all I need to do. Now it's time to make it look beautiful by taking out all the things that are not necessary and putting the things that are necessary. Okay, so I'm going to right click on this at the left-hand side and I want to remove. So you have show header. I'll click on show header to deselect and that takes it out. So just to make our chart look neater. Okay, now I want to put in the numbers. The reason why I have this circle is so that I can put the numbers inside the circle. For me to show my numbers, I also need to count the gender. Okay, so you see this count of gender that I have here. I need to create another one that I'll put inside my label so that it shows me the count. All right, I need to create another count of gender, put it inside the label so that it shows me the count. And I'm not going to put it inside the first line. I'll put it inside the second one, which is a circle. The first one is the line, remember? The second one is the what? Circle. Okay, so I simply come here, I create another duplicate by holding down the control and dragging the gender. So I have another duplicate and I drop these duplicates inside where? Text. Whoops. Sorry, I think I didn't create let me just create it here. Okay, so now that I know that I have created, the first time I didn't create, I just dragged the one that was there before. So now that I know that I have created it by duplicating, I'll then drag it and drop it inside label. All right, and once I drop it inside the label, you'd see the numbers 14, 17, 31, 39, 32, 85, 35, 55, 21, 19, 22, 4, and 84. But the numbers are outside and they're not within the circle. Is Tableau and Tableau Public the same? Yes, they are the same. They are the same. Is today for data analytics only? Yes, this is a data analytics masterclass. All right. So I want these numbers to be inside and not outside. So I go to the label and I click on the label. Okay, I click on the label and I go to alignment. Click on the drop down. And where you have the horizontal alignment, I click on center. And when you have the vertical alignment, I click on middle. Okay, horizontal, you click on center, vertical, you click on middle. And the moment you do that, your numbers would fit into the circle. This is to make it look more visually appealing. All right. So now that I have this, good, fantastic. I need to change my colors to green. Okay. So I don't want to change it one by one by going to the one that has the line, going to the one that has the circle. So I'll simply just go to all. At the top, I'll go to all. I'll go to my color, click on color and change it to what? Green. And this will change everything to green. Both the circles and the lines changes everything to green. Okay. I also want to change my font to the same font type, which is the Tableau bold that we have been using. So I'll go to all again, go to label, right? Go to fonts, click on font, select the font type, Tableau bold. Okay. We want to leave it as black so that it is contrasting with the color that you have, properly contrasting with the color that you have. If I use the green, you will not see the fonts visibly anymore. Okay, so the last thing I'll do here is I'll remove these grid lines, the horizontal and the vertical lines. I don't need them. So I'll right click on anywhere within my chart and I'll click on what? Format. I want to remove the lines. So I click on format and I'll go to my grid lines at the top right over here, click on grid lines. And where you have grid lines, click on none. Where you have 0 lines, click on none as well. Okay. And I also want to take out my axis ruler. I'll click on none. Axis ticks, I'll click on none as well. Okay. So, and this is what I have. It looks a bit neater than the way it was, because like I said earlier, you want to remove irrelevances. Now, my title, I'll right click on my title and edit the title. I want it to be a little bit cleaner. Select what I have in there. Select what I have. Change the font type to Tableau bold, consistent. Change the font size to 10. Change the color to light green and click on apply. So I have that there. Click on OK. And now I have my travel by month. Okay, so the next question we want to answer is, where will the customers like to travel to? Now we know when. Most of our customers would like to travel in December. So it makes no sense for us to organize travel packages in the month of January, for example, or in the month of September. Okay, because we can see the very low numbers of customers that would like to go for vacations and so on and so forth. So you want to take that into consideration. Okay, so the next question, we'll create the new sheet, is to answer where do they want to go to? So travel by location. All right, so I'm going to double click on this, rename it to what? Travel by location. So now that we know when they want to go, where do they want to go to? And just like we have created the very first 3, we create the 4th one the same way. We take our destination, which is where the customers would like to go, drop it in the columns. All right. Take our gender, because we want to count gender, right click on gender, drop it inside the rows and select count, just like we have done for the others, and click on OK. And Tableau will give you your visual. You can increase this. And I want you guys to tell me, based on what you can see, where will the customers like to travel to? Type it into the chart. Where will they like to travel to? Type it into the chart. Where will the customers like to travel to? Okay, so this is the organization taking what we call data-driven decisions. They're not taking decisions based on what they think, they're taking decisions based on what the data says, which is what the customers also want. Paris and the Maldives. Thank you, Michael. Cherish says Paris. Chuchu says Paris. Catherine, Del, Fred, Nina, Olaolu, Chioma, Sadiq, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so again, we can see clearly, and we are simply just going to format colors, change this, remove that, and that's it. So I go to colors, click on colors, click on the light green. Okay, I want my labels to show so I can see how many wants to go to Berlin, how many people want to go to the Maldives, how many want to go to Seychelles, Paris, and so on. I'm going to create a duplicate of my count of gender by holding down the control on my key on my keyboard and dragging gender to the right. I create a duplicate and I drag that duplicate and drop it on top of labels. Okay, and the labels would appear at the top. All right, the labels would appear at the top. So I'm going to take out what I have here. I'll right click on it and I'll deselect show header. I'll right click on this destination. I don't need it. Right click on it and hide fields labels. Okay, I'll change my title by right clicking, edit title, select it, just like the way we've done the others. Change the font type to Tableau bold, make it font size 10, change the color to light green, and click on apply. Okay. What I'm going to do next is to also take out the lines. Okay, so I'm going to right click just like I did in the other one, and I'll click on format. And from format, I'll click on my lines and I'll take out the grid lines. Click on grid lines, select none. Okay, 0 lines, click on it, select none. Axis rulers, select none. Axis ticks, select none. Okay, so you have a very neat looking chart. All right, so now we know where the customers want to go to. We now also want to find out, do they want to go alone or with their families? Alone or with their families? Because remember, our data has that. Where you have holiday with who? Do you want to go alone or do you want to go with family? Okay, so I'm going to create a new worksheet, double click on it and rename it so we know exactly what we want to put in there. So what do I want to see? I want to see holiday with who? Family or alone? Okay, holiday with who? That's what I want to see. Okay, so what do I check? I come to holiday with who, drag it, drop it inside the columns, right click on gender and drag and drop inside the rows. Pretty much the same thing we've been doing from the beginning. Click on count gender and click on OK. All right, so I have this. This is also a colon, but let's make it a little bit different. Let's make it horizontal. If you want it horizontal, you see the holiday with who that is in columns, you have to bring it into the rows. And you see the count of gender that was in rows, you drag that to the column. So you have it horizontal. Okay, and let me increase this a little bit. All right. So you can see you have travel alone, travel with family, travel with friends. Okay, I want to sort descending. I want to sort descending. So show me the highest and you move down in descending order. So I click on sort descending and it shows me the highest and it goes down. So type into the chart, what is the preferred method or how would your customers like to travel? Do they want to travel with family, travel alone, or travel with friends? Type it into the chart. Is it possible to make the country text bolder? Yes, we can make it bolder. We can make it green. We're going to do that when we start moving it to the dashboard. Princess, you can do anything your mind can conceive on Tableau. Once you can think about it, yes, you can do it. Why is it not showing the numbers of male and female? I'll do that. They want to travel with family. Absolutely. Thank you, Prince. Sonny, thank you. Dell, Fred, Mrs. O, Sadiq, Palmer, Catherine, Olaolu, absolutely fantastic. Most of them would like to travel with family. And then you have people that would like to travel alone, and you have the list of your customers would like to travel with friends. So this also tells you what to expect in dealing with your customers, right? So now let's add the numbers so that we can see the number of people that want to travel with their family and so on. So the count of gender is what will show us that. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate the count of gender, holding the control on my key and dragging it to the right to duplicate. And then I drag that duplicate and I drop it inside label. So you have the numbers. Okay, for the lady who was asking if we can increase the size, all you need to do is go to that label, click on the label, go to font, click on font, and you can increase the font size. It's currently on 9. Let's check 12. Let's also make it bold. Let's also change the color to Tableau bold, change the font size to Tableau bold, and change the color to green. So yes, you can see that. You can change the color. Okay, but let's leave it at black for now. So all you need to do is the label that displays these numbers. So you want to change the color, you click on label, right? I want to change the color of my bars. So I'll go to color and I'll select light green. All right. Now that I have my label 75, 140, 158, I don't need this axis anymore. Okay, I don't need this axis anymore. So I right click on it and I select what is on show header. I deselect show header. And now I have this. You see the vertical lines I have. I want to take out the vertical lines to make my charts neat. So I'll right click and click on what? Format. Go to lines. I'm pretty much doing the same thing, you know, over and over again. Click on lines, go to grid lines, none. 0 lines, click on none. Okay. Axis ruler, click on none. Axis ticks, click on none. And that's all you need to do. Let's also format our header, and then we create the very last visual. So I right click on this, edit title, click on tab, make it Tableau bold using the same fonts across. Okay, select it first of all, of course, then Tableau bold, size 10, and the green font. Click on apply, click on OK. And that's what we have. Now, the very last visual we are going to create is to see what is the preferred mode of transportation. Okay, so let's create a new sheet, double click on that and say mode of transport. So how will your customers like to move around when they travel? That's what we want to create. So mode of transportation, you have transportation as part of the data you've collected from customers. You drag that and drop it inside columns. The same way you've been doing with your gender, you right click on gender, drag and drop under rows. It would ask you, what do you want to do? I want to count, click on OK. And it gives you this. And I'll show you how you can change the type of visual, because Tableau gives you this by default. But what if you want to change it? All you need to do is at the top right corner, you'd see this icon that says, show me how to do something. Okay, click on show me, and you'd see different charts you can use based on the variables you've added to your columns and your rows. But this time around, let's use a bubble chart. A bubble chart. So I'm going to click on bubble. And you'll see the bubble chart appear. Hire a car, train or public transport, and then you have the bus. Okay. I also want to I want to show the numbers as well. So hire a car, what's the number? Bus, how many? Train or public transport, how many? All right. And for me to show this, I need to put my count of gender inside labels, but a duplicate, not this one that you have here. So I'm going to create a duplicate by holding down the control key on my keyboard, clicking on this and dragging it and dropping it inside label. And then you'd see the numbers appear. Hire a car, 260, train or public transport, 78, bus is 35. All right. Now, if you look at the colors, it's different from what we have been creating from the scratch. We have green, 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 and we have orange, This looks like peach, and then you have blue, okay? But I want it to be the same theme, the green color. So I'll go to my colors. I'll go to edit colors, all right? Because I want to change the color, right? I'll go to automatic, click on the drop down, and I want to select the green. So I'll click on green. Okay, and I can see the different palettes, and I'll just click on assign palettes. And once I click on assign palettes, I click on apply, and I click on OK. So this gives me a green colored palette. So I want you to type before we build our dashboard very quickly. We are almost out of time. Just tell me, how will your customers like to move around when they travel? Do they want to move with the bus, the train, or they would like to hire a car? Type it into the chat. Let's see what the customers want. Type into the chat. Let's see what the customers want. They want to hire a car. Thank you, Cherish, Catherine, Sadiq, Dell, Prince, David, Jumai, Emmanuel. They want to hire a car, Michael. Absolutely fantastic. So this tells you clearly that you need to make these plans for your customers so you can maximize your revenue. So you're not only going to book their flight tickets, their vacation destination, because you know where they want to go, you know when they want to go. You also know the people that would like to travel in groups with family and those who would like to hire a car. So you can make those arrangements for them and make as much money as you can. All right. So let's edit the mode of transport. Right click on it, click on edit title, select what I have, change it to what? Tableau bold, reduce the font size to 10 and the color to light green. Click on apply and click on OK. All right. And this is what we have for now. I'm going to take out the show me by clicking on it again. So we've answered all the questions that we have. We know the total number of people that responded, 373. We know the gender distribution, and we can even change this to percentages if we want. Instead of 177,196, we can see the percentage distribution. Travel by month, we know when they would like to travel. Travel by location, we know where they would like to travel to. How would they like to travel? Most of them want to travel with family, followed by travel alone. And then 260 would like to hire a car. All right. Now it's time to put everything together. How can we export this? I'll show you Tengu. Sonia, I'll show you how to export. Okay. How can we put all of this together? All right. So we want to create a dashboard, and all you need to do at the down right, the very first icon with the plus is a worksheet. The next one is the dashboard. So you'd see it with a vertical and a horizontal line. All right. You'd see that here, and that's the dashboard. You can create a worksheet and change it to a dashboard. All right, you see the new, if you right click, you see the new dashboard, but we don't want to do that. We just want to click on this plus sign with the icon that has the vertical line down and the horizontal line across. So it's like a cross. If I click on that, it gives me a dashboard. So I can start creating my dashboard. Okay, and your dashboard is simply the collection of all those individual charts that we have created. Okay, I'm going to move a bit fast because we are out of time. I still want to show you how to learn to do the things I'm doing. Okay, and by the end of today, all you need to do is go back to this video. You'll be able to do exactly what I've done. I've not written a single calculation today. All right, so I'll simply go to, once I've opened my dashboard, right, at the left-hand side, you'd see the size. You can edit and format the size that you want depending on how you'll be viewing the dashboard. But I'm just going to use automatic so that it gives me the entire page. Okay, so I'm going to click on the drop down. Where I have the fixed size, I'll click on the drop down and I'll change it to what? Automatic. So it fills up the entire page for me. There are instances where you can modify, you need to modify the size depending on the device that you want to deploy this dashboard to. Okay. Now, when you are building, it's always good for you to what? Create the foundation. All right. So you want to build a house. You dig up you measure, which is what we've done. We have measured to cover the entire screen. The next thing is for you to start to do what? To dig the foundation. You put some layers of cement before you start building. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to start digging up and layering. So we have a clear picture of how our dashboard would look like. Okay, so I'm simply going to you can either use tiled or floating objects or tiled on your dashboard. All right, we're going to use floating so we can move things around a lot easier. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of this because of time. Okay, so I'll click on floating, and the very first thing I want to add to my dashboard is a blank. All right, so I'll click on the blank and drag it and drop it on the dashboard. So you'd see what I have as a blank. And what do I want to use this blank for? I want to put in my title. So I'm going to do this, just resize, just like you resize any object. Okay, I want to put my title into this blank. All right. But again, we want to add some spice, a little bit of spice to our dashboard. Let's, spice up the color and not just use the plain white. So I click outside on my dashboard and I click on format at the top of the dashboard. I click on format. Okay. Click on format, click on dashboard. I want to format the dashboard. Once you click on format and you click on dashboard, you'd see the format dashboard at the left-hand side. All right. Where you have your default color, click on the drop down, and I want to use a dark green color. So I'll go to more colors. Okay, I'll go to more colors, and I want to select a dark green color. So let's choose this green, and then I'm going to increase the saturation of this green by dragging down this arrow at the right-hand side. Drag it down to make it look dark, very dark. Okay, so once I've dragged it down to look dark, I'm just simply going to click on OK and see how it looks like. Okay, so it's okay, not too bad. The green is not, is good, not too dark, not too light. So this is what I want. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I have created this blank object on the dashboard. Now I want to copy and use this to build my foundation. So every single chart we have created, we need to fix it somewhere. And for us to fix it somewhere, we need to create the outline for where we're going to fix it in to make it look good. So you see that sketch, the builders would look at the architect's design. They look at the design. Okay, this block would be here, the living room would be here, the washrooms would be here, and they follow the architect's design to build the house. We want to put a design so that whoever looks at this knows exactly what to put in a particular spot. So I'm going to take this that I created, this blank, I'm going to click on it, copy and paste. Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. All right, Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and it creates another outline for me. All right, now the outline is exactly the same color as the background, so it's easy for you to figure out what is where at any point in time. So I'm going to lighten this outline a little bit so that it is visible from the background. Okay, and how do I do that? Now I'll close my format dashboard and I'll go to my layout. make sure you click on what you want to format, which is this blank. I want to format this blank. I click on it. I go to layout. I go to the background. Okay, I go to the background. I select the exact color for the dashboard, which is the very first one. And then I click on more colors. It brings me back to where I selected the first time, the color the first time. And then I'll reduce it a little bit by dragging it up, just a little. Okay, drag it up a little bit and then click on OK. So you'd see that the green would be a little bit different from the dashboard background. So it's easier for you to see what you're doing. So I'm going to reduce this a little bit. Okay, and this is where I'll put in my number, which is the total number of respondents. I'm going to put it inside this box. My total number of respondents would be inside this box. You can resize and resize and resize as much as you want to, okay? So I'm going to leave this the way it is. I'll copy and paste, click on it, Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. Drag it, put it at the right-hand side. And this is where I'm going to put my gender, the male and the female. The male and the female. I'm going to put that in here. Okay. I'm going to Control-C and Control-V, copy and paste, drag this here. Increase the size. What do I want to put in here? I want to put my travel by month, the month that shows when the customers would like to travel. I'm going to put this at the right-hand side over here. All right. And we can, resize it by dragging it down a bit. Remember, nothing is cast in stone. You can always resize at any point in time. Now, at the bottom, I want to have 3 other boxes where I'll put my travel by destination, where the customers want to go, how they want to travel with family or travel alone, and their mode of transportation. All right. So I'm going to copy and paste what I already have. Click on this, Control-C, Control-V, copy and paste, bring it down. All right. Something like this. So here I'm going to put my travel by destination. All right. Let me reduce it a little bit. Control-C, Control-V, copy and paste, put this here. And what do I want to put here? I want to put how the customers would travel. Travel with who? Are they traveling with family? Are they traveling with alone and so on? Let me move this to the right. Increase this a little bit. And as I bring in my charts, it will also determine if I need to make adjustments to this. Because like I said, nothing is set in stone. So I'll click on this, copy and paste, Control-C, Control-V, create a duplicate and bring it here. All right. And then I would also increase this to the right. And here I'm going to put the mode of transportation. It looks a little bit big, but like I said, we'll make adjustments as we bring things into our dashboard. Okay, so now that I've created my outline of how the dashboard would look like, I can start bringing things and fixing, bring and fix, bring and fix. So I go back at the top left corner, click on my dashboard, and all the sheets I have, you see them at the left-hand side. Sheets. The first one is total respondents. All you need to do is drag it and drop. Okay, and you see the number 373. Once you drop it there, resize. I'm going to resize. I'm going to resize. I have total respondents. Just resize. Okay. I'm going to let this be in the middle. I'm going to take out the title because there's really no need to have the title here. So I'll right click, hide title. I have just the number 373. Okay. Now I'll try to make it fit into the middle so it looks good. However, you'd notice that there is a white background and it doesn't make it look good. So we need to take out this white background. And that's why I said you would always still have to go back to make adjustments, okay? How do I go back easily? Once you click on what you have brought in, you'd see this arrow that says go to sheets. Go to sheets. I'll click on that. It takes me back to the sheets. I would click on this particular chart, right? Click on it. Click on format. Okay, right click on it. Click on format. Where you have your fill, the color, click on that. Okay, click on where you have your shading, which is the fill color, and you'd see the default. The default is white. That's why you have that white background. So I'm just simply going to click on here, and then I'll click on none. And that's all you have to do. Just change it to none instead of white. And if I go back to my dashboard, you'd see that the white background is gone. All right, so I have 373. Okay, the next thing I want here is my gender and the number. Okay, gender distribution. So I'll close this format, back to my dashboard. All right, gender distribution, drag it and drop it here. Okay, resize as much as you want. You can also see the white background would also address that too. Resize to fit into that box. All right. I'm also going to take out the white background by clicking on this arrow that says go to sheets. Takes me back to the sheets, right? Click on the charts, click on format. Okay, go to the fill color, which is shading. It's going to be on white by default. So change it to what? None. And that's all you need to do. If you go back to the dashboard, you would not have the white background anymore. So you have your gender distribution. Now, the next thing I want at the right-hand side is to see the travel by the month. And of course, we can also change this because it is gray and looks very faint. So you can change the labels to white. Okay, so we can, if I click on this, it takes me back to the worksheet. I can right click on this, click on format. The font, I'll simply click on the font and change it to what? White. Okay, it would not show here if it's white because I have a white background, but if I go to my dashboard, it would show because my dashboard is green. So it is more visible this way. All right, or you can change it to green as well so that it aligns depending on what you want. So I close this format, back to my dashboard. I bring in my travel by month. Click on it and drag it and drop. Before we finish, let me make this announcement. I need somebody that would interpret what we have. So if you want to be that person to interpret and advise this company on what to do, get ready. As soon as I'm done, I would love you to tell us what you think this company should do. Okay, so let's address this again. Just fill it, ensure it fills the space you have created. All right, and we take out this white background and make this font also white. Okay, so let's get that done. So I'll click on go to sheet as usual. Right click, click on format, change the shade, the fill color, change it from white into none. And that's all you need to do. All right, I would also change this, right click on that, click on format, change the font from black to white so that you can see your horizontal axis, your x-axis, you can see it better. So if I click back on dashboard, you can see that it's a little better than how it looked before. All right. I don't like this outline. Let's take out the outline that you have here. So let's go back to the charts, right click on it, click on format, click on borders. I want to take out all the borders. Click on borders, row divider. I don't want any row divider. Click on the row divider, click on none. Colon divider, click on none. Okay. Row divider, which was that line you had at the top, the column divider, the line you had at the left. So yeah, so now you can see you don't have any line and it looks a lot better. Okay, it looks a lot better. Now at the bottom, I want to see the travel by destination. So let's close this format pane. Back to our dashboard, travel by location, drag it and drop it here. Okay, just fit it to fit into the box you've created. Tableau can never be easier. Very simple, seamless. Let's adjust this so we can make this a bit bigger. I thought it was small the first time. Okay, let's make it a bit wider so it would contain what we have here. Okay, I think this is fine. Let's reduce this. Let's move this to the right. Okay, you can always make these adjustments at your will. You can change your colors, use the colors that you feel would bring out the best depending on your organization color and so on. So this looks good. All right, let's also take out the white background. And for the labels, we can make it green as well. So I'll click on Go to Sheets. It takes us to the sheets. Right click, click on Format. All right. I want to remove the color. First of all, the white background. Click on Shading. Go to the white default color. Click on None. All right. And for my labels, what you have here, I'll click on the label. I'll go to the font. Change the font type to Tableau Bold, make the font color green, and that's all I need to do. Okay, I can also change the colors of the axis, right click, format, and I'll simply just change the font to white. Okay, and when I go back to my dashboard, it looks like this. All right, it's a lot better. And I need to put travel with who? Who would the customers like to travel with? Family, travel alone, or travel with friends. So I close the format pane so I can bring in this chart, drag it, drop it here. Okay. Resize as usual. Just resize it so it fits into that space. So you can see the reason why we created those boxes. So it's easy to know where to put what. Okay, so this is what we have. Let's increase this. So I'm going to take out the white background as well. Click on Go to Sheets, right click, Format, go to Shading, and take out the white color to None. All right. We can also change this, right click, click on Format. Let's make the color white. Select white. And lastly, the labels, let's make them green so we are consistent. So I click on label, go to font, and change the color to green. All right. And also make it similar to the other ones. So this is what we have. If I go to my dashboard, you can see we have that. And we're going to bring in the last one, which is our bubble chart that shows the mode of transport for the customers. So I close the format pane and I bring in the very final mode of transport, drag it and drop it here. Okay. Let's resize, resize, and resize until we have something that looks good. Okay, this looks good. So here you have legends. I don't think we need the legend because it has the labels inside. So I'm just going to close, remove from the dashboard. All right. So here, let's go back to these sheets and take out the white background. So I click on Go to Worksheet. All right, right click, click on Format. Go to Shading as usual, change it from white to None. Okay, and let's go back to the dashboard and we have this. So let's click outside and see. So our dashboard is looking good for a first timer. It's looking good. All right. So now I want to put in my title at the top. Remember, we had kept a blank at the top. So I want to put my title in there. So all I'll simply do, I'll close this format pane, go right to where I have my objects. And what do I want to put? I want to put a text. So I'll drag the text and drop it. And I'll type in travel analysis dashboard. Okay, it's very tiny. I'll select, increase the font size to, let's say, 26. Or let's make it 36. Make it bold. Change the font type to Tableau bold. Make the font color. We can make it white. Click on OK. All right. This looks very big. We might have to readjust. I'll just resize. Resize again. So let's reduce the font. I'll double click inside. So it brings back the text box. Select it and reduce the font size to, let's see, 28 and click on OK. Let's centralize as well. Let's center. Click on center and click on OK. So this says travel analysis dashboard. Well, let's make it 10 analytics. All right. So I'm going to type 10 analytics, travel analysis dashboard. Click on OK. And then we have our dashboard. All right. So 373 people, we have the distribution, male and female, when they want to travel, where they want to go to, who they'll be traveling with, and their preferred mode of transportation. I want somebody who would like to tell us. All right. What influences the dashboard arrangements? You, Mayowa, you would influence the dashboard arrangements. It's 100% dependent on you. Now, one thing you can also do is, nobody's an island of knowledge. All right. Leverage the internet. Go online and search. Go online and search. And let me show you what I mean or what I'm saying. Go online and simply just type sample Tableau dashboards. All right. Sample Tableau dashboards. Click on images. And then you'd see different images. Look for one that is good enough. Click on it, have a look at it, and see if it's something you can replicate. But you need to know how to use Tableau before you start looking into this. All right. This is one way. Another way is the more you use Tableau, the better you become. So once you know what you want to show, I want to see the number of people. I want to see this. I want to see that. You first of all visualize and create a mock-up using a pen and a paper. You can draw what you want to create. And from there, you can start building using Tableau. But ensure that you make use of the internet. You'll get so many things here and get inspiration on what to do. All right. Now, I want somebody to tell me, what will you advise the company? I want somebody to speak. I don't want in the chat. So if you want to speak, please raise your hand. I would ask you to unmute yourself and let's get to hear from you. Okay, let me see. Cherish. Okay, Cherish wants to speak. Cherish, I've asked you to unmute yourself. So look at this dashboard and tell us, what would you advise this company based on the analysis you have carried out? Are you there, Cherish? Oh, Cherish is unmuted, but I can't hear Cherish at all. Sorry about that, Cherish. Anybody else wants to try? Cherish has issues with his internet. Okay. Now, while we are waiting for somebody to raise his or her hand, if you want to use the month to filter, for example, you want to know the male and female that will travel in January, February, you want to use your month to filter the rest of this dashboard, you can. You click on month and you'd see the icon that says use as filter at the right-hand side. It says what? Use as filter. If I click on use as filter, the moment I click on, let's say, I want to see the number of male and female that will travel in December. So I click on December. Everything would change. So now I can see 45 female. So more female would love to travel in December compared to the male. And where would they like to go to? Paris, followed by the Maldives. All right. If I click on July, it would also change. You can see 55 people, 32 female, 23 male. All right. So you can see that the two major locations is the female that dictates where the family would go to, because Paris is the highest, and you can see 22 female selected that they would love to go to, 22 people rather, selected that they would like to go to Paris. However, out of the 55 that would like to travel in July, 32 of them are female. And out of the 84 that will travel in December, 45 are female. Okay, so you can use a particular visual to serve as a filter by simply clicking on this icon that says use. Sorry, I clicked on something else that says use as a filter. All right, and this makes your dashboard dynamic. It makes your dashboard dynamic. All right, so in advising this company, what do? I saw something from somebody. Prince is saying, I would advise the company to make arrangements for family vehicles like SUVs, trucks, and GPS trackers to be able to be available during December for hire to the Paris destination. That sounds very good. Prince, I need you to say it yourself. So I've asked you to unmute yourself, Prince. Let's get to hear from you very quickly. Hello, Prince. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Prince. Shoot.
Okay, like I typed earlier, I didn't start the class early enough, but as at the time I joined and what I have on the dashboard,
Yeah.
I'm basically suggesting that
Yes.
the company should make available SUVs, family vehicles that could take good numbers to the Paris and the Maldives destination in December, because that's the peak of the travel time. And then looking at the number of families that will be traveling, since most people like to travel with family, so the vehicles should be vehicles that should be able to take good numbers. And then these vehicles too need some GPS trackers, because people would likely hire them. And then there should be room for documentation, proper documentation, and probably some collateral deposits. And I think that's all I can say for now.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Prince. I think you've added some fantastic insights into what this company needs to do. Thank you very much for contributing. All right. So just like Prince has said, this would clearly show using data to make decisions. So you're not just deciding, sitting down somewhere based on your experience and thinking that this is the next step to take. Experience is fantastic. However, data is the single source of truth. That tells you exactly what to do. All right. There's a saying that says, in God we trust, all other must bring data. So we only trust God. If you want us to take any decision, bring the data. So now we know exactly what to do because we have analyzed the data. Again, doing this very simply, no complex calculations, nothing out of the ordinary, dragging, dropping, clicking, and Tableau has done a fantastic job. Now you have a PowerPoint presentation you want to make to your company. for example, and you don't want to maybe present, this would be a very fantastic way to present because you can click and it would change and they can see exactly what you're talking about. But if you want something static, you can also export this into a PowerPoint document, PDF document. You can also publish it to the web. Take the link and send it to somebody, and that person opens up the link and can access the exact same dashboard you've created. If I go to File, I can save this particular Tableau file by clicking on Save As, click on Downloads, all right? And I can name this Travel Analysis, save it in my downloads, all right? I can also export it into PowerPoint. Like I said, if you click on File, you'd see Export as PowerPoint as a package workbook. You can also publish this to the web as well, all right, by clicking on Share. So if I click on Export as PowerPoint, you'd see something that says, you can't see it because it's on my other screen, but you'd see something that says Export. All you need to do is click on Export, and then once you click on Export, you have something like this. All right, I click on my downloads. I want you to export it into my downloads, and I click on Save. And the moment I do that, it would export the entire dashboard as a PowerPoint document. So if I go to my downloads, right, and I go to Travel Analysis and I double click on it, it brings up what we just created, which is this Travel Analysis file created on the 30th of March, and you have the dashboard in PowerPoint. Okay, so as an analyst, and just like what Prince has told us to do, that is the responsibility of a data analyst, to help the company to take decisions based on what the data says. That's who the data analyst is. All right. Now, how do you become a data analyst? Or is the data analyst career path, is it even in high demand? That's a big question you must always ask yourself every single time, because a lot of people feel very wrongly that data analytics is saturated because of the buzz around data analytics. 10 years ago, when I was getting started, I had the same, a lot of people saying the same thing. Oh, data analytics is saturated. But then again, data analytics is one of the career paths that is growing in demand day in, day out. And the reason is very simple. 90% of the data we have today was generated in the last 5 to 6 years. Let me say that again. 90% of the data we have in the world today was generated in the last 5 to 6 years. So we are generating data at an unprecedented rate, and organizations are looking for people that have the skills to manage this data, store the data, analyze the data, extract insights, to even help them understand what the business is doing from a data-driven perspective. And one other report we love to look at when taking decisions on where the future of work would be is the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. It's a fantastic report. Everybody who wants to transition needs to read. All right. At the left-hand side, you have the jobs that will grow in demand. And at the right-hand side, you have the jobs that will decline in demand. Okay, so this is a snapshot. And I've kept the link for you to download the report yourself. And one of the very first roles you would see that would increase in demand in the next 5 to 10 years is the data analyst and the data scientist role. You'd see that there clearly written. All right. So the data analyst role and the data scientist role are roles that would increase in demand. And I just told you the reason why. We are generating data at a rate that we have never seen before. All right. So people ask the question, how do I transition? Okay, how do I transition into data analytics? Are there really jobs? Are people getting jobs? So we love to show success stories of people like you who are getting started for the very first time. See what people have done and how successful they got at the end of their learning journey. Because like I mentioned at the beginning, the focus is always on landing the job, not just learning the skill. So this is Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin started his job last month, February 2024. He trained with us, joined us sometime last year, joined our data analytics program, completed the program, and started his very first job as a data analyst working with BBX in the UK. He lives in Lagos, Nigeria, and he works remotely from Lagos for an organization in the UK. He's earning in pounds, spending in Naira. And for those of you in Nigeria, I'm sure you understand the financial implication of that. Earning in pounds, spending in Naira. And how did Muhyiddin get successful? He joined us in August 2023. He completed his program and his internship with us in December, and he started his job in February. I'm going to showcase Muhyiddin's profile to you, so you have a very good understanding of how you need to structure certain things. I always tell people, the skills alone, you are the best in Tableau in the whole world, will not get you the job. You see that person that is a little bit above average, but has a fantastic CV, a fantastic LinkedIn profile, has prepared for the interview better than you, would get the job before you do. All right. So we also kept a link to listen to what Muhyiddin had to say on how his learning journey with Analytics was. We're going to come back to listen to Muhyiddin. Last week as well, we had another amazing story, and I blanked out the person's name because he puts his salary in the email he sends to us. So I'm just going to use the name Hakim. All right. Hakim got a job sometime last week. All right. And he sent me an email. We had worked with him during his interview and so on. And this is him sending me an email. Good news. I got a data analyst offer. All right. There, I'm excited to share with you. I received a 44K data analyst role a few days ago. Now, he's telling me, he's reminding me that he participated in our HR mock interview session. And I'll explain what that means. So part of the things we do is to simulate the interview experience. So we create fictitious jobs. We send it to our participants. They work on their CVs and apply to those jobs. All right. And once they apply to the jobs, we now interview them in front of everybody. So we ask questions just as you would in a typical real life interview. So based on their answers, at the end, we give the feedback and so on and so forth. So people get to improve. Those that participate get to improve. They know what to say, how to say things a little bit better under pressure, because sometimes we have as much as 300 people watching live in sessions like that. So that's enough pressure alone. So Hakim was part of that, exercise. He applied for one of the HR analyst roles that we had created, and he participated in that mock interview session. He has reached out for his reference. I have sent the reference, and he will be starting his job immediately. All right. And this is Abdul Hakim. This is Hakim's story. Getting a job in the UK, even with the new changes coming up in the UK, clamping down on so many immigration pathways, he got this job with visa sponsorship. Again, just about a few days ago, Damilare, who joined us sometime last year, got a job as a sustainability data analyst. And I'm going to talk about this because a lot of people think because I have learned data analytics, the only type of jobs I can get must be data analyst roles. But there are so many roles: sustainability data analyst, pathology data analyst, benefits analyst, sales analyst, and so on and so forth. All right. Damilare also got this job and sending me an email. I'm super excited to inform the entire Analytics employability team that I successfully landed the job as a sustainability data analyst. I want to thank you all for the support throughout the phase. God bless you guys real good. And just like Olua Damilare and every other person that registers with us, we prepare you for your interview. And Oluwadamilare had multiple interview sessions. And we worked with him, and today he's landed his job in the UK as a sustainability data analyst, and so many other success stories like that. All right. We have Rita as well. I'm just going to highlight a couple and not everything because of time. Rita sent us a message as well. You know, with the recent clampdown on the COS and so many other pathways, especially in the health and care in the UK, Rita was able to get her organization to give her a COS to match the new rates, the minimum salary you must have to get the COS, which moved from about £27,000 per annum to about 38,000, if I'm correct. So she was able to get another offer from the same company. And this is her sending us a message saying she had a back and forth with the HR in her organization about this. But what eventually made the difference is the sequel she was able to learn with us. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to Tenalytics because the program you taught me on SQL was what I used to get this fixed term contract job. Thank you very, very much. And this is the email screenshot where she received her COS. Okay. And what that means is simply certificate of sponsorship. For those in the UK would have a very good understanding of that. And it means you can apply for a skilled worker visa and you can stay back in the UK as a resident. Eventually, after 5 years, you get your indefinite leave to remain. And once you have your ILR, indefinite leave to remain, 1 year after, you get permanent, you get citizenship. Okay, so that's how Rita was able to move from her current job into a COS, even with the new changes that has been implemented in the UK. You have Tony. Tony works with the NHS in the UK as well. Fantastic lady as a benefits analyst. Full visa sponsorship. We worked with Tony just like so many other people, and she was able to land the job. Tosin works as a fraud analyst where he prevents credit card fraud using data, also working in the UK. You have Olubemi, who works with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada after joining our data analytics program. All right. Olubemi got his very first job as a business data analyst with the Law Depot. Okay. And he transitioned from that into a solutions analyst where he works with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada. You have Benga. Benga was out of job for 2 years, couldn't get a job in Poland. He joined our program, and guess what he needed to land the job? He needed just Tableau. He learned Tableau with us as a data analyst, and today he works as a business data analyst in Poland. And there's so many other people in Benga's shoes, in Olubemi's shoes, in Tony, and so on. You have Bernard. Bernard was able to secure a scholarship in Canada after completing our data analytics program. We wrote a reference for him, and he was able to land his scholarship, and eventually also got a job with a professor that offered him the scholarship in Canada. And so many. You have Zainab. Zainab started her job sometime in January this year as a data manager in Nigeria, and so many other professionals. I'm not going to bore you with all the specifics and every single person we have on our slides because we will not leave here today. But I want you to listen to Ikmat. Ikmat was one of our recipients of the scholarship last year. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom who wanted to get back into the job market. She joined our data analytics program, and today she works with the NHS as a data analyst, and she's also on full visa sponsorship. So let's listen to Ikmat very quickly, and then we'll move on to the rest of our session. It's about a 3 minutes video, and I'm sure you'd learn 1 or 2 things from Ikmat. So let's listen to Ikmat and hear what she has to say.
Once everything's perfectly organized, I'll start working on my thesis.
Grammarly.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Tenalytics, and joining Tenalytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, you have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Analytics to go back to. They are the best, and the best thing that ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable. The most affordable one I've come across so far, and that's a very good advantage. So yes, Analytics for the win.
Okay, so that's Ikmat. Like I said, fantastic lady, currently working with the NHS. She calls it data for good. All right, using data to help address public health issues in the UK. She was a recipient of the IWD scholarship that I'll be talking about later today. She got the scholarship last year, joined the program, and she was able to get a job, and today works with the NHS. I'm going to showcase some of the LinkedIn profiles for Ikmat, for Muhyiddin, who also got a job working remotely from Nigeria, and so many other people. Zainab, who is currently on my screen, how Zainab was also able to get a job, and so many other things, because they're all connected. It's not just about the technical skills. Like I said, I've also kept a link where you can go through all the lists of testimonials of people that have been a part of our program, and you get to learn 1 or 2 things from them. You get insights, you know what to do, how to position yourself as well. All right. Now, how do you get started? This is one question I always get, and people struggle to make a headway. How do I start? All right. How do I start? What do I need to learn as a data analyst? And I'll break that down for you. All right. We've seen what a data analyst does. Prince put that very succinctly, saying exactly what that company needs to do in order to get better results. And we were only able to do that from the data the company had gathered from their customers. And organizations would always generate data. So how do they make sense of the data? And that's where you come in. So how do you help companies analyze, get insights from data? One of the first things you must know how to do is problem solving. So you see all those questions you were asking. How do I come up with the questions? How do I know the dashboard to use? How do I know the data to use? And so on and so forth. Problem solving is what gives you the skills. You have skills to ask the right type of questions. You learn how to use different techniques like the CRISP-DM framework, right? The McKinsey-Macy model, and so many other techniques, getting to the root cause of a problem by asking why 5 times, the 5 whys technique, and so many other things. So that's where you start from. You don't start from the technical, you start from the very basic, and then you work your way up. Once you understand the different problem-solving techniques to deploy as a data analyst, you move into Excel. Excel gives you that background and gives you the foundation. And this foundation is what you build up, what you build on to get you into the data analyst role. No data analyst today, you can't call yourself a data analyst without a sound understanding of Excel, because one way you find out that all these tools kind of have a convergence at some point. The better you are with Excel, the easier it would be for you to even understand Tableau, understand Power BI, understand SQL, and so on and so forth. Once you move from Excel, you move into SQL, structured query language. I can't overemphasize how important SQL is. But what is SQL in the first place? Organizations would have their data in a database, and SQL is the language that would enable you interact with this database. So imagine let's say you are a Nigerian in Cote d'Ivoire, or you are a Nigerian in Paris. You traveled with that travel company to Paris. For you to communicate effectively, you will need to learn how to speak French. And that's the same way. You want to speak to databases, you want to get data from a database, you want to analyze data in a database, you must understand the language of databases, which is SQL, SQL, structured query language. And then you move into Power BI. Power BI would pretty much do the same thing we did with Tableau today. But Power BI is even easier in terms of ease of use. Power BI is number 1. All right, in data visualization, data analysis, and so on and so forth. All right, some organizations have a preference for Power BI, some have a preference for Tableau, but you would learn the two as a data analyst. You learn Power BI, you'd also learn Tableau. What we've done today is a tip of the iceberg, a fraction of what Tableau can do. In fact, we've done less than 1% of what Tableau can do. We didn't write any single calculated fields. We didn't write any calculation, nothing, but we were able to analyze that data to get insights from the data. That's what Tableau does for you, all right? You'd also learn data storytelling, which is you explaining and telling the things you've seen from the analysis you've done from the data so the company can take a decision. You would not be the one to take the decision. Your directors, your MDs, your CEOs would be the ones to make the final decision. So you would present to them, make a compelling case from your analysis. They really don't care if you've used the Tableau, you've used the Power BI, you've used Excel, but they want you to tell them what to do based on what the data says. And you learn ChatGPT for analytics. And like I said yesterday in the session I held, if you haven't used ChatGPT as a data analyst, you don't know what you are missing, all right? And not your conventional 3.5, which is the free version, your 4.0, which is the paid version. You see all the things we did today, all the clicking, dragging, and all of that, or the questions we came up with. You can send your data to ChatGPT. ChatGPT would analyze the data and tell you that these are the questions you need to ask if you want to analyze this data using Tableau. 4.0, it is absolutely phenomenal, all right? If you have access to $20 every month or just for 1 month, test it. Subscribe to ChatGPT 4.0 and you'll be blown away. But you need to learn this as a data analyst. because organizations today are looking for people that are not too technically sound. You don't have to be up there. You have the skills, you have the fundamentals, but you are very good with something called prompt engineering. Okay, prompt engineering. And this is simply writing the right type of prompts into ChatGPT that would give you the type of results that you want. Okay, and these are the things you'd learn. And you'd learn, lastly, Microsoft Fabric for analytics. And Microsoft Fabric is a recent platform launched by Microsoft, which it encompasses so many things across the analytics value chain. You can write queries in Microsoft Fabric. You can build Power BI dashboards in Microsoft Fabric. You can write Python codes in Microsoft Fabric, and so on and so forth. But you will be learning how to use Microsoft Fabric as a data analyst, because organizations today are looking for people that have that skill, because they are migrating from their legacy systems to new platforms like Microsoft Fabric, because it makes integration a lot easier and collaboration a lot faster and seamless as well. And these are the skills you need to learn to become a data analyst. A lot of people get it very confused, and they learn the wrong things, and they spend years and years trying to transition. How long does it take you to learn all these things? 4 months. 3 months, project-based classes. Project-based. I'm going to emphasize the project-based classes. All right, because this is you using these tools to solve problems. Not just learning the tools, but to learn how to use them to solve problems by working on projects. So projects I have worked on over the last decade of my career, we've converted those projects into case studies, and you'll be working on the same projects. So it's you more or less working on a real life scenario for a real organization that exists. The only difference is we have modified the data in a way that you can't tell that this is this company you are currently analyzing their data. Okay, we've also modified the data in a way that you can't, trace it, or you can't, direct it to any specific company or individual. So for 3 months, you are learning in class, working on projects, and then you have an internship for 1 month. Okay, and how do you learn? Your live classes are only on Saturdays. And it doesn't matter where you are. You are in the US, you are in Canada, you are in the UK, you are in Nigeria. You have a time that fits your time zone. For those in the European region, in the UK, in Africa, similar time zones, your class on Saturday is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And for those in Canada, in the US, similar time zone, your class is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right, which is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West Africa time. So it doesn't matter. Every Saturday, you have 2 classes for 2 regions, and you select the region that best fits your schedule. If you are in Nigeria, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. works for you, fantastic. If it's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. that works for you, great. But the 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is usually for those in the US, in Canada. So that is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which fits their time zone. And on Sundays, you don't join a live class on Sunday. You join something we call the Watch Me Do It. So you have bite-sized videos called Watch Me Do It videos. You get to watch at your convenience. All right. Some people break their videos on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and they space it out to have enough time to watch and practice. When you come to class, is on a Saturday. You come to class, work with your facilitator, your trainer, somebody like myself, work with you, you work on projects, and you solve problems using all the tools you'll be learning. And that's how you learn. I talked about the fact that all these technical skills, no matter how good you are, there are certain things you must do in order to what? Get a job, especially in the major economies, in the US, in the UK, across Canada, and so many other regions in Europe and so on. And these are the things that has made us very, very successful as a company in helping our participants to get jobs. And one of the things you must do is to build a portfolio right? We call it show your workings. Show your workings. All right. Every recruiter out there, every potential employer wants to see that all the things you have on your CV, you're not just saying you can do them, but you've done them before. Can I have a look at the project you've done? Can I see your portfolio? Because this gives the recruiters an insight into the depth of the skills that you have. So every single thing you do, you work on a project, you solve something in class, you add that to your portfolio. And I'm quickly going to showcase one of the portfolios of our participants. You would have access to this link, and you'd see how you can create something similar. Her name is Victoria. Victoria joined our program sometime towards the end of last year or thereabouts, if I'm correct. And Victoria, this is Victoria's portfolio. The link to this portfolio would be on your CV. Very, very important. All right. So if we scroll down, you'd see one of the projects Victoria has worked on is the Deep Care Hospital ER analysis. So people ask us, how come a lot of your participants work with the NHS in the health sector? Have they worked in healthcare before? The answer is no. But how have we been so successful in helping our participants to get jobs with organizations that can offer them sponsorship? Because in the UK, the NHS would offer you sponsorship at the blink of an eye. All right. So we've gathered so many projects, so many case studies that you will be working on. And one of them is the Deep Care Hospital ER analysis. And this is Victoria building something and showcasing. So all we need to do, and this is a project for the hospital emergency room visit to determine the overall performance score and bridge the gap in the ER care. If I click on this link, okay, it takes me into Victoria's Tableau dashboard. I talked about the fact that all the things you do, you can publish it to the web, all right? And you can share the link and somebody else can access. So this is what Victoria has built using the same Tableau that we used today. And you can see her analysis, all right? I can interact with this dashboard, clicking, and when I click on something, it affects the entire dashboard. I can interact with it. I can make, check for different things and so on. And that is what makes Tableau absolutely phenomenal. And this is Victoria's dashboard. Okay, so if I go back, that is one analysis she did. Another one is the Redux Airline flight analysis using Excel. You have Express Tech Food Service Delivery using Tableau. And you can check all these projects out by simply just clicking on them, and it takes you into where the analysis she's done, where they're resided. This is Redux Airline working for an aviation company in the US, helping them solve problems. Okay, and you put all these things online where recruiters can see what you've done. This is a project on Nestle Product Analytics. I'll show you where this you do all of this in the classroom when we get there. Okay, so this is Victoria's Nestle dashboard, and all of this you'd find in her portfolio. This portfolio would get you the job 10 times faster than any CV would. Because when I look at what Victoria has done using Tableau, when I look at what she has done using Excel, using Power BI, I clearly know that Victoria has the skills to do the job. This is another Tableau dashboard by Victoria. And you can see what she's done for Express Tech Delivery, a delivery company based in Nigeria. And this is Victoria helping them to understand the data that they have. Okay, so I've left the link in my slides. You can interact with this. So you must have a portfolio. That is number one, strategy for you to present yourself in front of a recruiter as an expert. All right. Again, like I mentioned, you saw the fact that the gentleman Hakeem got a job as a sustainability data analyst. We've had people get jobs as pathology data analysts. And there are so many career paths within the data analytics realm: marketing analyst, product analyst, sales analyst, business intelligence analyst, supply chain analyst, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, as we start to wrap up our session, I'm going to walk you through the other 50%. Your technical skill, like I said, is just 50% of what you need. Okay, your technical skill is just 50%. You need another 50% employability skills. Let me call it EMP. Without these employability skills, you're going to struggle to land a job. And this is how we position you for success. For all our participants, this is how we structure you for success. Okay, now your CV is your number one weapon. Okay, that's your number one weapon, because your CV is yourself in paper representation. So how do you have a CV that is fit for purpose? A CV that meets the requirements of every job you apply to. And this is where we show you, we teach you practically how to tailor your CV to job requirements. When you see an application, you want to apply to 10 jobs, you are not doing that with one CV. You are doing it with 10 CVs, because every job comes with its own nuances and so many things you need to take into consideration. So how do you use tools like ChatGPT, tools like Jobalytics to get things done and make your work a lot faster in tailoring your CV to meet the requirements? And one thing ChatGPT can do, which is a session I always take for our participants, the topic of that session is always tailoring your previous experience to your new career path. So if you were a carpenter before, if you were in logistics, if you were in banking, it doesn't matter what you did. Now you are a data analyst. How do you tailor your previous experience to your new career path? I'll work with you to help you do that using ChatGPT. Okay. I'll also show you how to tailor your job description to different job applications that you will be considering, especially using ChatGPT 4.0. And let me tell you how amazing 4.0 is. All you need to do is upload your CV, copy the job requirements, the job adverts from wherever it is, if it's on LinkedIn, if it's on Indeed, on CV Library, copy it, paste it, and simply write a couple of prompts, which I'm going to share with you. All right. Once you write those prompts one by one, from your achievements to your job summary to your every single section of your CV, ChatGPT does the job for you and gives you a revamped CV that you will use to apply to that job. And that's where the job review session becomes very important. You have your LinkedIn optimization. I'm going to show you the LinkedIn profile of some of the people that have gotten jobs. One of the first things you must do in your LinkedIn is to what? Position yourself as an authority. Okay, position yourself as an authority in that space. You never want to show that you are new. You've only learned for 3 months, or you are new into the space. Nobody would hire you. And that's why a lot of people struggle to get jobs. All right. A lot of people complete the program and want to apply for internships. That's absolutely nonsense. You don't want to go for an internship. You want to go for the real job, the main job. Okay, so how do you position yourself as an authority? So I don't forget, I'm going to show you right away. Okay, so that I don't forget the profiles I said I'll share with you. Okay, on how our participants, how we help them position themselves to get jobs. Okay, so let's first of all, I'm going to go to Muhyiddin. Let's go to Muhyiddin's profile. If you remember, I showed you Muhyiddin, who got a job, started last month, working for BBX in the UK. Okay, so one of the first things you see is you both worked at Analytics. So you never position yourself as a learner. The moment you register with Analytics, you're a consultant, you're a contractor, you're a data analyst consultant, or a data analyst contractor with Analytics. So every recruiter will see that. And why do we do this? It's very simple. Every single skill you're going to work on, the projects you work on are the same projects I have worked on over the last 10 years of my career. So you're doing the job of a data analyst. There is nothing else you'd find on the job that will be different from what you've learned. Okay, so every recruiter would see that, okay, you've done it before with an organization. Can we get a reference from them? Can they vouch for you? So what typically happens is these organizations then reach out to us, sending us a link. Can you fill the form? Tell us a little bit about Muhyiddin. What exactly are his skills? How best can we manage him? And so on and so forth. Okay, so this is Muhyiddin, currently a business development manager. So he helps BBX in the UK to do what? He helps them to identify business opportunities, get new customers by analyzing their data. Okay, so you'd see Muhyiddin's, so you can see he clearly wrote it here using a data-driven approach. I leverage tools like Salesforce, CRM, and so on to streamline lead generation. And Muhyiddin just started his job in February. All right. Now, if you look at Muhyiddin's previous experience, he was a contractor with Analytics before he got this job, because every recruiter wants to see that you have done it before. You're not a learner and you won't be learning on the job. So this is Muhyiddin's profile. Okay. And this is one thing you want to do. If I go to Ikmat as well, Ikmat, I've forgotten Ikmat's surname. Yeah, I think it's Akinyoye. All right, if I go to Ikmat, Ikmat is the lady who got the scholarship last year and currently works with the NHS. If I go to Ikmat's profile, she hasn't updated her new job, but you would see she also indicated data analyst with Analytics. All right, everybody has to put it that way, and you must also post, because this is your #1 repository. Okay, if I go to Zainab as well, Zainab works in Nigeria as a data manager, and this is me showing you practically how you can structure your job, the job application process for success. Okay, so if you go to Zainab's profile as well, you'd also see that Zainab started her job December 2023 as a data manager. And if you look at her previous experience with Analytics, okay, as a data analyst, this gives every recruiter the green lights to say that you have done this before and clearly indicating what you did with us, okay, in terms of your achievements. So your LinkedIn is absolutely important, and the way you also structure your highlights. And I'll show you in the classroom the documents that you will use to structure your LinkedIn summary, because recruiters go in here and they also search for keywords, just like your CV, the ATS that they use for CV. The only difference is for LinkedIn is a bit more flexible. You can add more things, but how do you structure your summary on LinkedIn? We provide you with a document that you use, and we show you how to always tweak to revisit that. All right, so let's go back to our slide, and I'll quickly complete the rest of what you need to do. I've talked about the CV, which is very important. You must know how to tailor your CV to job applications. You must have a fantastic LinkedIn profile, and a profile that showcases that you are an authority in that area. You must have an Upwork profile so you can work remotely on projects as a freelancer. If you don't have one, we show you how to create one. If you have one, we help you optimize what you have. Navigating the job market is another amazing session we have every week. And what this does for you is to show you the opportunities you have wherever you currently reside. Last 2 weeks, we brought somebody from Nigeria and the UK. Last week, we brought another person from the UK, especially because of the fact that there are so many changes happening today in the UK with regards to immigration. So how can people take advantage of the opportunities that are still available within the space? So we have this session so you know where to apply, the opportunities that await you. And there is something I almost forgot to show you on LinkedIn. Very important for those of you that will be searching for a job. If I search for a data analyst job, for example, okay, and I want to search for this job, I want to show you very quick, 1 minute, and I'll move back to my slide. I want to search for a data analyst job. So I search for data analyst and I click on jobs. Okay, I click on jobs. It would show me the companies that have the license to sponsor automatically because of an extension I have installed on my computer. Okay, so this company is not a UK visa sponsor, not a visa sponsor, but this is a visa sponsor. Okay, it's a data analyst, it's a Power BI role. Okay, and this is a UK visa sponsor. If I need sponsorship, even though this job might not indicate anything related to sponsorship, it might not have anything related to sponsorship. I know that if I get this job and I apply, I can request for a visa sponsorship and the company will give me a COS. And you have a session where we show you how to also check how many COS has this company issued in the last year, the previous year. So you know the chances you have on getting a COS from them. So if you check, you'd see those companies that have the sponsorship, those that don't have the sponsorship. And this is another amazing insight for those of you who will be searching for jobs. We prepare you for interviews because you must know the right things to say when you get into an interview. You write the recommendation and references so those organizations can confirm you as an employee with them. And of course, the second level is where we have our mentorship sessions every week. You get to see me, you get to see the co-founder of Analytics. We bring in other industry experts and we literally handhold you to making the transition. And for those who would get a job and have a project that might be a little bit difficult or confusing for them, we have on-the-job support to also help you land on a solid footing on that job, work with you until you get yourself fully immersed into the role and you can run without Analytics, looking over your shoulder anymore. So we have on-the-job support for our participants as well. And finally, our promise to you for 2024 is a guaranteed interview 1 month after completing the training with us. It's a guarantee from us that you will get an interview, maximum a month after you're done with your training with us, all right? So again, I've talked about these things. The reason why we are phenomenal, simply we've helped over 2,000 people over the last 4 years to transition into the tech ecosystem. We have the best curriculum. We have the best facilitators, the best curriculum that fits the current demand of the job market across the globe. You are learning in a blended learning approach where you don't have to be in class every single weekend. You're in class on Saturdays, and on Sundays, you have a self-paced component of your program, and you have employability sessions that helps you stand out. Okay, I'm going to go into the classroom to show you what the classroom looks like and how you learn. But before I go in there, I'm going to talk about the fees and the scholarship that we have for you. All right, the next cohort starts on the 6th of April. Okay, and we have the IWD scholarship, which is the 50% scholarship to bring in 300 women into the tech ecosystem and 50 men. Now, the IWD is for the women, most especially the International Women's Day in the month of March. The month of March is also the Women History Month. However, only 75% of roles, I beg your pardon, only 25% of roles in the tech ecosystem are held by women, just 25%. So it means that 75% are held by men. So the reason why we are opening this up to the men as well is so that we have drivers of the inclusion of women into tech. We have people that will serve as mentors, as allies, to help drive the inclusion of women in tech, because men are currently dominating the tech space. You'd find men in the leadership positions and so on and so forth. So while we are offering 300 women to take advantage, we are also extending the scholarship to 50 men. And like I mentioned earlier, this initiative started last year, 2023. And this was the article Tech Cabal published about the scholarship last year. And you have access to click on the link, read the article at your convenience, and you get to see how the scholarship last year took place. To be specific, 320 women were eventually selected as beneficiaries. Over 320 to be specific. Okay, and this year, we are looking to do a lot more. So how do you take advantage of this scholarship? For the data analytics program, rather than paying the full amount, which is $750 to be a part of the program, all you need to do is, sorry, I think I clicked on something by mistake. All you need to do is to pay the scholarship amount of 50%. So instead of $750, you get to pay $375 if you're paying in US dollars. And if you're paying in pounds, instead of 625 pounds, you get to pay 313, 50% right off the bat. If you're paying in Canadian dollars, instead of 1,050, you get to pay 525. And if you're paying in Naira, instead of 900,000, you get to pay 450,000 Naira. And that's the discounts we have ongoing. For the men, I think we have just about 7 slots left. We had 12 yesterday, but today we have just about 7 slots left for the men. And for the women, I think we have about 94 slots left. Okay, so the women still have a high, the major advantage of still taking advantage of the scholarship, getting into the program that starts on the 6th of April, 2024. And we have 7 slots for men out of the 50 slots we had allocated to the men to also benefit from the scholarship. All right. The next cohort commences on the 6th of April. And I'll show you for those who are interested in making payments. And I'll also take you to the classroom and we get to take questions before we wrap up. Okay, all you need to do to take advantage of the scholarship is click on the link, which my colleagues would share with you. You'd also get this in the slides when you receive the slides later today, and you have all the details. But you want to secure your scholarship slots, especially for the men. If you click on the main stack link, it takes you into main stack, which is the enrollment center. And I'll show you how to walk through the enrollment center. So one of the first things you want to do, if you can get access to the program brochures, and this shows you the nitty-gritty. So I click on data analytics, it opens up the data analytics brochure, and I can look at the nitty-gritty of what I'll be learning. You can download the brochure as well and go through it at your convenience, okay? So I go all the way down to the curriculum. I start with problem solving. What am I going to learn in problem solving? Defining the problem statement, the CRISP-DM framework, the issue tree, the 5 why technique, the McKinsey-Mason model, the prioritization technique, data gathering, synthesizing insights, and so on and so forth. Okay, you move on to Excel, understanding of the Excel environment. That's the very first thing you're going to learn. So you're not learning anything complex, and the program is designed with the beginner in mind. I tell people this: for the data analytics program, you need 0 level of understanding. In fact, you don't need to have any understanding of Excel, any understanding of any tool. You learn all the things you need in class, okay? And you also get to see your amazing trainers. You go through the brochure, you see some of the projects you're going to work on. The Nestle Product Analytics, which is one of the projects. If you remember, when we went to Victoria's portfolio, you'd see the Nestle project as one of the analyses that she put on her portfolio, okay? Because that's also something you're going to work on. You can see that. You can see the Express Tech food delivery project, which was also on Victoria's portfolio, the Express Tech food delivery. So you get to see all the details of how you learn. And of course, you also get to see your trainers and your facilitator. I'm going to be one of your facilitators in the data analytics. Also, the co-founder, Efemena. You have Olugbemi, who is a data analyst in Canada. You have Oladapo. Oladapo works with Deloitte in Bermuda as a senior consultant. He's going to work with you on Excel. You have Mohammed, who has worked with Alfa Romeo in the US, working in their supply chain departments. You'd work with him. You'd also work with Shukrat as well. And these are your trainers for the program. But how do you make payments? All you need to do is go all the way to data analytics. Click on that. It takes you into the data analytics payments page. And you get to make payments. The 50% in pounds is 313. And you have the amount entered, or you enter the amount yourself. Click on reserve a seat. Enter your full name. Enter your full name, enter your email, and then click on pay with card. And the moment you click on pay with card, you enter your card details, you complete your payment, you'll receive an email to the email you entered. The email would contain your receipts as proof of payments and also a link for you to fill to get into the program. All right, you get all of that the moment you complete your payment. So that's how you get to make payment to be a part of the program. And for those of you in the UK that want to do a direct transfer, you have the option to do that using our pound account. Okay, once you have done a direct transfer using the pound account details, ensure that you take a screenshot as proof of payment. And once you do that, come back to this enrollment center and click on upload your receipts. Okay, upload your receipts. Sorry, I'm just going to take this to another. Let me open that in my other browser. Okay, so I don't have to sign in. So you have upload your receipts, which takes you into this form. Now, people would ask the question, do you have another cohort starting apart from the one on the 6th of April? Yes, we do. We have another cohort that will commence on the 4th of May. So for those of you that would want to be a part of the cohort on the 4th of May, you can still take advantage of the remaining slots of the scholarship available and defer your program to start in May. How do you do that? Once you enter your email in filling this form, once you are done making payments, for those who pay with their cards, you receive the link automatically into your emails. For those who have done a direct transfer, remember, you come back to the enrollment center and then you click on upload your receipts and it takes you into this form. You enter your details, your email first of all. Once you enter your email, click on next. Okay, type of payment, full payment, part payment, initial, first installment, as the case might be. Click on next. First name, last name, enter your email. It is your preferred Gmail, your gender, male or female. Click on next. Okay, read the terms and conditions, accept the terms and conditions, click on next. When did you make payment? Enter the date, upload your screenshot, the proof of payment, your mode of payments. Was it what transferred to the Wise? Was it main stack? Click on next. Which program are you registering for? Data analytics. You come here, select data analytics, click on next. When would you love to join? Would you love to join the class at starting at 11 a.m. or the class starting at 6 p.m., depending on your region. If you're in the US or Canada, you want to join this class in the evening, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, click on next. Would you want to be considered for the IWD scholarship? Yes, 50% discount, click on next. Upload your passport photograph, which is a requirement to take advantage of the scholarship. Click on next. When do you want to start? So for those that would like to start in May, you want to defer your program to start in May, you simply come in here and select 4th of May. If you want to start on the 6th of April, come here, select 6th of April, and that's all you have to do. Once you fill this and you submit, we will send you a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the materials that you need to be a part of the program: how to download and install Excel, download and install Power BI, Tableau, SQL, and so on and so forth. All right. I'm quickly going to show you the classroom and how you learn with us. Okay, so I'll go to the classroom. I'll go to the class that started in February. Okay, so data analytics EU. EU simply means those in the European region, West Africa, similar time zone. I'll go to the classwork, right? And I'll showcase a little bit of some very important things to you. Now, when you join, you're going to be part of a group because you have group exercises, group tasks, and you work together solving problems in groups. So you have a group list. This list contains the group members and how to collaborate. You have job sites, okay? Links to the job sites where you'll be applying to based on your preference. You want to apply to startups, you want to apply to remote jobs, you have the links to those sites. I talked about the LinkedIn, how to structure your LinkedIn summary, which you will have, updating your LinkedIn profile, and the type of jobs you can apply to, okay, when searching for jobs. So we provide you with this document, okay? You have a CV template, which is the Wharton CV format. Wharton, I'm going to type that in the chat, the Wharton CV format. If you want to ever get a job, you want to know this format, the Wharton CV format. Is the best when it comes to ATS. It performs the best, the Wharton CV format. So after you've gone through your CV review sessions, we will provide you with a CV template based on the format you have used for your CV review sessions. And then you modify these templates, and this is what you'd use when applying to jobs. You want to book an interview, you have an interview coming up. All you have to do is come in here, click on the link. It takes you to a Calendly where you find the time available. There's a time available on Tuesday. Select the time, click on next, enter your name, enter your email, enter the job description, schedule your events. Okay, so when I click on schedule events, you'd see interview preparation. Mohammed is going to prepare you on Tuesday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Canada. All right. So on this Tuesday, Mohammed will join the meeting. And if I go to my email, you're going to see that in my email. So you can see that. Okay, this is the invitation for the meeting. And Mohammed is going to work with me to prepare me for this interview. And that's how you schedule your interview, you know, and we prepare you for those interview sessions. If you listen carefully to Ikmat, you'll hear when she said Mohammed prepared her for her interview. Mohammed is a phenomenal data analyst who will help you get your very first job. Okay, so you also track your jobs using the job application tracker, right? To see if you're applying to the right jobs, if you're applying based on the target you have set for yourself. Now, the most amazing parts, let me scroll down to the beginning of this program. The most amazing part of this, of being a part of Tenalytics, is you never miss anything. You never miss anything. So in your classroom, you have everything that you need. Your onboarding materials, your welcome kits, which contains your timetable, your class schedule, how to download and install. You have your videos on how to save your videos offline so you can watch them at your convenience. You have how to download and install PostgreSQL, how to install Power BI on Mac, okay? How to download Power BI on Windows. You have all these videos available, and then you move to your very first problem-solving class. And this is where, if you miss this class, for example, you have a slide. All the slides that was used, all the materials, you find them on this platform. Log into the platform, come in here, you have access to the recording. Click on the recording, click on the link, and you can rewatch everything that was done. Every single thing that was done in class, you can rewatch at your own convenience, okay? So I'm just going to pause. Maybe we'll come back to that. You have the class slides on how you learn, starting with problem solving, okay? And of course, your very first topic is what is data. So you're not diving into things that are, unbelievably difficult. Like I mentioned earlier, you build from the ground up, okay? What is data? And then you move on from there. Now, let's assume that you missed this program, you missed this class on a Saturday. Just come back here. You have the recording. If you play the recording, everything that was done in class, you'd have watched what was done in class, and you can revisit it. If you have any questions, because you don't understand something, we have something called the drop-in session. And the drop-in session is designed to happen during the week, where somebody would join a live session with you to look at the problems you have and help answer those questions for you, okay? I talked about the interview simulation, which is something we always do from time to time. And for your classes, when we talk about project-based classes, this is exactly what we mean. If you go to your Excel class, you go to class material, and you look at the slides, it is designed to solve problems. So you're not just learning Excel, you're not just learning Tableau. This particular case study is for a company called Agro Limited. It's a supply chain analysis case study, okay? You read the case overview. You've been employed as a data and insights analyst, and you're meant to help this company solve some problems and answer some questions, okay? So you would use the things you've learned in Excel, the VLOOKUP, the index and match, the XLOOKUP, the count if, the sum if, the if and, to solve this particular problem, okay? And this is how you learn. You learn by working on project. This is a real life case study for a real organization. The only difference is the name has been changed. The data has also been modified, so you can't trace it to any specific company. And these, are the strategies that we deploy to equip you with the skills and also the experience. All right. And this is what your typical classroom would look like. Okay. And when you're done with Excel, you get to work on a capstone project. So you'd see the capstone project that Victoria had uploaded. So let's see the project details. You see the project that Victoria had uploaded, the Redux Airline case study. Redux Airline case study. If you go back to Victoria's portfolio, you'd see that the Redux Airline flight analysis on Excel. So when Victoria completed this as a capstone project in class, she uploaded it on her portfolio. And that's what everybody else would do as well. Okay, I'm going to take a breather at this point in time because our time is already very, very far spent, and I'll take some questions. If you have questions, please feel free. Type it into the chat. I'm currently looking into the chat to answer some questions. And then if you want to speak as well, you can raise your hand. I'll call you up to speak. Okay. Shoma is saying, I've paid for the data analytics, gotten my welcome kit, tried downloading the tool, successfully downloaded Postgre, tried downloading Tableau. It's free for just 1 month. Tableau is free. So when you see free for 1 month, there are certain paid features, just like every other application. Excel has a paid version. Power BI has a paid version. All these tools have a paid version. And I'm sure most of you don't pay for Excel. You can use Excel to do all the things you want to do. However, there are some certain things that I'd call them maybe a little bit advanced that you want to have, that you need to pay for. But all the things you need during the program for your Excel, your Power BI, your SQL, your Tableau, you don't need to pay. Okay, you don't need to pay a dime. All right, I hope I answered that question, Chioma. Then Power BI for MacBook, all you need to do is let us know the challenges you have, and then we will help you. For Power BI on Mac, you need to have a virtual machine installed on your Power BI. Either you use Parallels or you have a VirtualBox, one of these virtual machines, and this is for Mac users. Okay, Parallels, I think, is available for a month. There's a way some people, have it available, monthly. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure it's very legitimate to do that. But for Parallels, you want to have Parallels as a virtual machine on your computer. I think you need to pay for Parallels, but it's also very quite cheap as well. Okay, but let us know. We will help you work that out, Chioma, if you're having issues with your Mac, especially for Power BI. Okay. All right, I'm just checking through the chat for some questions. Twin is saying, would love to enroll, financial issues. I don't want this opportunity to slide by. So what I advise you to do, Tony, very, very simple, which is what I advise other people to do. You can give yourself time to join, okay? But the first thing you want to do is take advantage of the scholarship, because you guys would see us again having sessions like this in the month of April. And what we are going to be presenting would not have the 50% anymore. It's going to be the full amount, because the 50% is only for the month of March and only for 300 women and 50 men. So once the slots are exhausted, the scholarship is gone. Okay, so what you can do, Tony, is make a deposit, make a commitment, and you can start in May. All right, so you give yourself enough time to make your payments to start in the month of May, the cohort that starts on the 4th of May. That's what I advise you to do, Tony, so that you don't come back in April and then rather than paying maybe 450,000 Naira, you're paying 900,000, or rather than paying 313 pounds, you're paying 625, especially as a lady. We designed this scholarship for you guys. Okay, so take advantage of it, Tony. Mayowa is asking, can I switch between the time slots depending on my availability each weekend? Yes and no. And let me explain, Mayowa. Yes, you can, but I would not advise you switching every single weekend. And I'll tell you the reason why. Now, you have the same trainer in class, you have the same curriculum and so on. However, every class has its own different, how would I put it? Its own different halls and different capabilities. Take as an example. I want to teach you guys VLOOKUP, index and match, and XLOOKUP. Now, the class in the morning, they didn't get it, as much as I would love to. So they got the VLOOKUP very well. They also got index and match. But because we took time on index and match, we couldn't move into the XLOOKUP. Now, imagine you were in that class in the morning where we did not complete the XLOOKUP, but the class in the evening would have completed that. So you find yourself in one class that might not be moving at exactly the same pace as the second class. So you might struggle if you have to switch every single weekend. What you can do is, if you switch one weekend, you stay in class for a while and you feel, oh, I need to switch again, you must let us know so that we ensure that you're not missing anything and you're also going to have a seamless transition into the new classroom. We've had some people who moved from Nigeria, they moved to Canada, so their timing changed completely. So they moved into the new cohorts, but we needed to work with them to ensure that they were not missing anything when moving into the new class. So you don't want to switch every single weekend. You want to maybe stay in a class one weekend, maybe something comes up the next weekend, you really can't join that same class, but it's not something that is consistent. Okay, I hope I answered that. Least amount to secure this for the month of May is 65%. 65%. Okay, the 65%. So if I go back to the enrollment center, let me just show you very quickly. If I click on data analytics and it takes me to data analytics, all right, you see the minimum amount I can pay. Okay, because my computer is still recognizing that I'm in the UK, even though I'm no longer in the UK, moved to Canada in January. You'd see that it has £313. Okay, however, I can make a minimum payment of 200. So you'd see the minimum you can pay. The minimum amount is 200, and I can pay the balance of 113 before the program commences. All right, I think I answered that question as well. So I'll just take more questions for the next 5 minutes, and then we will call it a day. So if you have any brother, you have any sister, you have a colleague, you have a friend, you have a contemporary that you think can benefit from this, share the message with them. Okay, in terms of, you know, helping you get your journey started, this is the best place you want to be. When you get the slides, ensure you listen to the amazing professionals that we have that have transitioned, that have gotten jobs, and these people would serve as body mentors to you, as your buddies, to help you make the transition as well. They make it easier for you because it's easy to relate to them because they've just done the things that you will be trying to do. Okay, so go through all the profiles, get some inspiration from them, and get your journey started. I also want you to build your dashboard. All right, the things I showed you how to do today, try to do them today, tomorrow, and once you are done, post it on LinkedIn and just say, thank you, Adeza. All right, tag me on your post and say, I learned how to use Tableau for the first time, and thank you, Adeza. So you can, all you need to do, my LinkedIn handle is the same as my name. Okay, I'm just going to show you very quickly. So Adeza Suleiman, that's my LinkedIn handle, exactly the same as my name. So once you make your posts, you create your dashboard, take a screenshot. All right, take a screenshot, go back to the dashboard, open up your snipping tool, search for snipping tool. We go to your search, type in snipping tool. Okay, search for snipping tool. It would pop up. All right, and let me just show you what it looks like. So you can take a screenshot easily. Okay, this is what the snipping tool looks like. Click on new. Okay, and then take a screenshot of your dashboard. So once you take a screenshot of your dashboard, you'd see it in your snipping tool like this. Click on save and save the dashboard anywhere. I can just put this here and say dashboard. Okay, I save it in my download. So go on LinkedIn, upload it, talk about what you've done, and tag me. I'll be very excited to see that you have learned something today. Okay. Let me see if we have any questions. Any more questions? I have paid full, but subscribe for 6 p.m. How do I change to 12 noon? So all you need to do, Ife, is send us a message, all right? Or send us an email. The email you have, excuse me, the email that you received with your welcome kits and all of those things, send an email to us and we will help you change the timing. You can change your program even 2 weeks into your respective program. So let's assume you start with data analytics, but you feel like, oh, I think I want to do the data science instead. You can switch once, even 2 weeks after your program, must have commenced. So you have that flexibility as well. All right. So just send us an email, Efe, and we will help you address that. Sorry, Catherine. Catherine has issues with her network. Again, guys, one other thing I want to advise is follow us across all our social media channels so that you're the first person that gets to see any new thing that we put out there for you. Okay, you're always going to get access to amazing stuff. For example, you go to our YouTube page, you'd see so many freebies, so many free sessions that we held, and you can learn for free. Okay, you can also get to see the amazing testimonials from people that have been a part of our program. Follow us on LinkedIn so you also get to see the amazing work our participants are doing. Okay, and like I mentioned, share this message with everybody you think can benefit from it. And as I wrap up my session today, I'll show you one more last thing that you need to do as a takeaway. So as a takeaway, go to YouTube, all right? Go on YouTube, search Analytics. Okay, search Analytics. Go to Analytics. Okay, click on the Analytics logo. All right, and you will have access to all the materials, like I said. For example, yesterday we had a session on getting started with Python as a data scientist. We had a session last week, about 5 days ago, on leveraging AI as a data analyst using Excel and Claude AI. So Claude AI is also a large language model, just like ChatGPT, but it has some amazing, capabilities that you can use for free. So check this session out. Why recruiters choose Scrum Masters over project managers, how to leverage ChatGPT as a data analyst. So we've had all these amazing sessions, okay? And you can all learn from this. You can also listen to the amazing testimonials from people that have been a part of our program. You'll see the testimonials, scroll through, listen to what people have to say, people that have joined our program from time to time. Click on the playlist and you'd see, if I click on play all, for example, you'd see all the people that have been a part of our program. You see the playlist over here. And please take out time, listen to some amazing people, listen to Abigail, listen to Dankat, listen to Grace, listen to this amazing lady, listen to Lemuel, okay? Listen to Michael, Idris, and all the amazing professionals in here, okay? And like I said earlier, you get to learn amazing stuff by just following us on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? And you'll also get to be a part of some amazing stuff. One other thing you want to look at is our hackathon. We had a hackathon last year, the end of last year. So you can search for Analytics Hackathon and watch the hackathon session. Okay, so we had a hackathon where we gave out $1,000 to the top winners. It was an alumni hackathon, meaning that people that have completed our programs before or people that are still a part of the program. So we had a hackathon. We had judges from the biggest and the best organizations across the globe to be on the panel for that session. We had another one in 2022. You can watch all the amazing hackathons that we've held. And this was the one we held in December. Okay, we had a total cash prize of $1,500 for this. Okay, so you have amazing content for you. All right. So once more, I'll say thank you for being a part of our session today. And I hope you've learned one or two things. And for those of you joining us on the 6th of April, for those of you joining us on the 4th of May, and for those of you that will be joining, if you haven't registered, go register, make your payments, and let's help you get your journey started. Register your brother, register your sister, register somebody that you know wants to get into tech. And it will be a life transforming journey for you, a career transforming journey. And I would love to see you in class. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll go take a break right now, and I hope you have a fantastic time. And happy Easter to everybody. Cheers, everyone, and thank you for joining me today.